All right, welcome in. We are live. MinerTalk is here. We're presented by Jack in the Box. I'm Adrian Broadus. He's Sal Montes. Chris Collins in the house. Inspo Lens. We're live here. We're presented by Jack in the Box. Also brought to you in part by Thomas Adams Apparel. And here on the program, we are talking to you after New Mexico State defeats UTEP 67-63 in the Battle of I-10, the second game of this one, the rematch of this matchup. And now they split the series, and there's a lot of takeaways from this one. We could talk about the final minutes, the huge shot by Jamel Jones to close out the game. They win 67-63. The big shots late in the game, one by Kasim the Dream Watson and the other by Caleb Blackwell. I mean, it was a 63-59 game. There was a bad possession by New Mexico State. Jamal West Jr. made some late free throws. It was 63-61. Miners had a chance. They were down just a bucket. And then Jamel Jones hit a huge shot late in the game and lifted New Mexico State up. Miners couldn't get a couple late shots in this one. There's a lot to talk about. This feels like one of those shows that's going to last forever. We're going to be talking about this one till we're blue in the face. And a lot of it is because of the tensions that happened after and how tensions flared. Emotions ran high. A lot of the stuff that was made after the game was really seen by what happened. Joe Golding, Jason Hooten getting into it. Word said among both of those coaches. Then the assistants didn't like it. They stepped in. Players didn't like it. They were having to be separated, and that's the bad blood right there, Sal. That's the rivalry intensified, and I don't think these teams are going to find each other in the conference tourney. I mean, one of these teams might be omitted from Huntsville, Alabama when it's all said and done. And as a result here today, it's a huge win in favor of the Aggies. They absolutely needed this win, 67-63. And the Miners, they hung around. They were down 10 points in the first half. That was terrible. Terrible way to close out that half. New Mexico State on a 23-8 run to close out the first half. And then to close out the game, the Miners, they showed some fight. Yeah, they were in the game down the stretch, just unable to get it done when it's all said and done. And the Aggies get a huge win. And this could mean a lot of things for the Conference USA tournament when it's all said and done in the standings, more importantly, Sal.
This game is just like it was back in El Paso. Only difference is New Mexico State didn't shoot themselves in the foot as much. And they also didn't let the Miners get to the line as much. They were able to take a rather respectable care of the ball tonight. And Jones able to hit, some more clutch shots tonight. And that's the reason why for the Aggies, they came out on top today. So it was a really good game, the final 10 minutes or so. But overall, just some poor basketball play by both teams that kept both teams in it, for a good chunk of it, in my opinion.
Joe Golding said nothing happened after the game. Post-game question asked by Steve Kaplowitz, who was on site, was throwing out all the great videos out there. We've got videos on Instagram, videos on Twitter next. We got the post-game up there as well from head coach Joe Golding. Didn't really, Sal, I didn't really love the comments. You could hear him. He sounded dejected. He sounded real mad. And then the $1 million question, what happened post-game? And Golding simply says nothing. And looks at everybody like, next question. And do you have any thoughts on this one? The tensions that flare, everything that we saw at the end of the game between Jason Hooten and Joe Golding, who these two know each other very well.
Yeah. This isn't even the battle of I-10. It's the battle between the Jays, Jason and Joe. So, that's what I think it is. These guys know each other really well. I don't know if maybe somebody did something. And by somebody, I'm not inferring to one over the other. Maybe one, but maybe somebody saying, hey, that's a little bit out of your character and just getting upset over it. So, I like it, though, man. I wish we would have seen more of this from the players in the game, though, too. I wanted to see some scuffles. I wanted to see some hard fouls, some pushes, some more blood. But, hey, it's all right, man.
Jason Hooten apparently said, he doesn't take it personal. He understands this is part of rivalry games. And it was the part 2 version of the Battle of I-10. Joe Golding's head-to-head coaching record against Jason Hooten is now 8-17. He's 3-3 against Hooten when it's UTEP versus New Mexico State. But I found that kind of interesting. These coaches have played each other so many times. You go back to the Abilene Christian, Sam Houston games. These games have happened over and over and over again. And now this one, it boiled up at the end of it. There were some tensions that were flaring on both sides. And, you saw that evident by the way the Miners had to go into the locker room first. the coaches and the players and the team and the assistants had to separate things on both sides. And just a disgruntling way to finish if you're the Miners. It's going to be a long bus ride home. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think too. Maybe for Golding is that there was a lot of times throughout the game that he was kind of jarring at the refs or just unhappy with the decisions made by the referees. And maybe this was kind of just the straw that broke the camel's back, whatever it was near the end that made him snap like that. Because it wasn't really how could I say? You want to get into flow offensively and defensively or whatever. Well, as somebody who's doing whatever that they do, you want to be able to build some sort of rhythm, some sort of a flow, and you keep on getting interrupted for one reason or another. Maybe that was the case for that little snap.
All right, we got a lot to talk about here on the program. I have so many points to hit on. 915-505-6009. I shouldn't even say the phone number. We're full phone lines, so we got a lot to get to here on the program. We're going to get to all our callers here on the show. Jake is going to join us first. Then we're going to go to Wilson. Then we've got Isaac on the phone line. So give us a call, 915-505-6009. While you're waiting for some phone lines to free up, make sure to send us a message, 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X, or our app, 600 ESPN El Paso, especially if you were at the game. Talk to us about the tension. Talk to us about the environment. We'd love to hear from you here after the game on MinerTalk. New Mexico State defeats UTEP in the second edition of the Battle of I-10, 67-63. This is MinerTalk. We're presented by Jack in the Box. Multiple locations in town, open 24/7, 365 because cravings don't have a curfew. I'm rocking my hat right now, the MinerTalk hat, brought to you by Thomas Adams Apparel. Huge shout out to Jacob and the great team at Thomas Adams Apparel. You can check out their full collection that's going to be dropping March 1st at thomasadamsapparel.com. You don't want to miss this awesome collection that's coming up. And then again, we are live on Inspo Lens, live on YouTube, live on X. Love the fact that you could watch MinerTalk along with listening to it here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Along with Sal Montes, I'm Adrian Broadus. We are continuing here. Let's kick it off with Jake, who's joining us first on the phone lines, 915-505-6009. Jake, good evening, man. Go ahead. Jake, are you there? Jake, we may have lost you already. What a terrible way to start things off, Jake. Come on, Jake, are you here with us? No, no Jake there, Sal. What a bummer right there. Let's move on. Wilson's joining us next, 915-505-6009. Wilson, good evening, my friend. What's going on? No, I don't hear anything. Sal, do you hear anything on your side?
I don't, but I can punch him in.
Let's see if we get Wilson on your side. Let's see if we get him on your side. Let's try it again, Wilson.
Wilson, you there?
And apologies to you, Jake. Go ahead.
What's up, Adrian? You guys got me?
Yeah, Jake called back too. We'll get you on.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jake. Wilson, go ahead, man.
You got me, Adrian? Sorry, just making sure.
We got you, my man.
Sounds good, y'all. Yeah, wow, just kind of what a night. It's been such a kind of roller coaster letdown season, and just to kind of see the Miners fight but ultimately not get it done again is just kind of what we've been going through like the last 5 years, I feel, with this program.
Yeah, it's not a good finish, and this is a gut punch one, right? I mean, Wilson, like this is one right there that you don't feel good about. This is one that, if you're a Miner fan right there, you wanted to close this one out to give yourself some security going into the final stretch of the season and to kind of ensure that you're making the tournament. And maybe that doesn't even matter when it's all said and done. Maybe the tournament, this has just been a real tough season all around. And maybe the tournament is just kind of like one of those wishful thinking processes. And it won't even matter either way.
Yeah, for sure. I would feel the same way. I mean, I think the only thing that gives us hope about the tournament, in all honesty, was that one, magical run that we did have, coming up short of making the dance against Western Kentucky. And, it kind of gives, I guess, Miner fans hope, saying, like, hey, maybe they could just play right at the right time and do it again. But it's just kind of sad seeing, I love defensive basketball, and I love that's what UTEP stands for and has stood for many years. But just watching them offensively is really hard, especially trying to find a single player within the 5 years that Joe Golding's been there to shoot a three and make a three in a big time moment. It's sad that we don't have like anybody that we could say that could go and hit a big time shot in a big time moment the past 5 years of the program.
The biggest shot maker I can think of, like late game shot maker that I felt real confident with, Sule Boom. And this time around, I feel like Kasim Watson's like 40-60. Like 40% of the times I feel really good. And then 60% of the time it just doesn't go in, but he has good looks. Like I like the corner three. But then Wilson, does it really matter? Like do they really close this one out if they're not able to get that three off? Or if they even get that three off when it's all said and done? My answer to that is no. They were playing catch up pretty much the entire game from the 9-minute, the 8-minute mark of the first half all the way throughout the second half. New Mexico State in this game, they led for 16 minutes, 53 seconds, almost 17 minutes of this entire game, I should say. Actually, that's completely wrong. New Mexico State led for 28 minutes. Miners lead for only 10 minutes. There's only 2 lead changes. This game flipped early, and New Mexico State never really looked back.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just something that we have to ask ourselves as Miner fans. I mean, we're not in the Conference USA of old. We're not competing against the Memphises and the Houstons of the world anymore. We're competing against Jack State, Kennesaw State, all these teams that I feel that UTEP as a program and El Paso as a city is much bigger than, and especially the history of UTEP basketball. And I think if you ask me, like, I think the biggest question now is, like, what do we do moving forward? As a city and as UTEP basketball fans, like, what is the plan moving forward? Are we just go to the Mountain West and get our butts, our teeth kicked in every year in basketball now? Like, I don't feel confident within the next few years in this basketball program to say that we're going to go to the Mountain West and things are going to change automatically. I just, we can't beat teams in Conference USA now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you, Wilson. Hey, I appreciate your phone call, man. Thanks for weighing in. Thanks for getting in on the show. 915-505-6009, 600 ESPN El Paso, Twitter next, and then 600 ESPNElPaso.com. Let's go to here Jake, who's joining us next on the phone lines. Jake, let's try this again. Sorry about that first one. Let's see if we got you this time. Let's try you again, Jake. Let's see it on your side, Sal. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey, guys, you got me?
We got you, Jake. Sorry about that, man. We got you here on this side. New Mexico State defeats UTEP 67-63. Your thoughts after this one?
Honestly, man, it's like, piggybacking off the first caller, it's just disappointing as Miner fans. Big one for this game, though, that I think is kind of being under touched a little bit by Steve and John touched it up a little bit, but it's just a total lack of bench play, man, by the Miners. We're getting we got 10 plus minutes from just our starters, and that's it. NMSU got solid minutes out of 9 players total, and we're getting 5. And getting gassed hurts, but of course, KJ can't buy a bucket tonight, and then he gives up the shot to Jamel late, and it's just, maybe KJ wouldn't be a starter if we had some bench depth. Maybe he could be a 6-man and get his good minutes, but I think we're asking too much of guys that possibly aren't 40-minute a game guys, but we're stuck because we don't have any bench depth, and I think it's a lack of roster construction overall, and I think that's the most valid point I see from upset fans on wanting Golding gone, is just that 5 years in a row, man, we've had teams that can't shoot and can't rebound, and like we've seen tonight, nothing's changed.
Jake, rank L.A. Hayes, Cassius Brooks, and Trey Horton.
I'd go L.A. Hayes, Cassius Brooks, Trey Horton. Good. You did it right there for me, Adrian.
That's funny. I agree. I mean, like, who are you playing as a big off the bench? That's why they rely so heavily on Kasim Watson, Jamal West Jr., and Elijah Jones. And look what happened today. I mean, Jones didn't get going until the second half, and he finished with only 5. I mean, Watson in this one, he struggled mightily in this one, finished with 8 on 7 attempts. Those guys just simply couldn't get going. And I think the Miners are now becoming a little bit reliant on the three-point game. They shot 30% in this one from beyond the arc, and that's just not going to do it against New Mexico State, who in this one, yeah, they match it as well. They finished, and they were 31% from beyond the arc in this one. But still, I look at the Miners, and you just need a little more from more scores, more offense, and that's kind of been the issue over the last few years. I'm with you on this, Jake. The difference this year is their defense doesn't match it. Like, their defense isn't what it used to be, where you could say, okay, well, at least they have the defense to hang on with them. No, you can't say that this time around.
No, not at all. And, that was kind of Golding's shtick, right? Is like, we might not be as dynamic offensively as other teams, but we're going to get after it and, cause turnovers. And that's just not the case anymore. And I think it's, I'm sure everyone's seen the tweet going around about the 2009, 2010 Miner team and, Randy Culpepper and all that. If you're a Miner fan, you've seen that video swirling around. But it's just a crazy comparison to just, 15 years ago of the kind of recruits that we're getting to El Paso. I mean, even when Rodney Terry was up back here, man, I mean, he wasn't the best X and O's guys, but, man, he was recruiting guys, Bryson Williams, Sule Boom, these guys that are playing professionally overseas and getting looks at in the NBA. And it's just like, why isn't that talent coming down to El Paso anymore? I think it's a question that all Miner fans want asked or want answered. And it's just sad because, I mean, rest of the soul, but the Don's looking down on the Miner faithful right now, and it's a dark, dark time to be a UTEP Miner basketball fan, and I feel for all of us, actually.
Jake, let me ask. Well, okay. I appreciate your phone call, man. Thank you for weighing in. I appreciate that. 915-505-6009. Let's go to Isaac, who's joining us next on the phone lines. Before we go to Isaac, I do want to say this. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, Sal. If UTEP said, okay, well, on our side, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pay a big bag for a player out there in the transfer portal, like Jamel Jones. Look at what Jamel Jones is doing for you right there. 22 points or 21 points to lead the Aggies in this game, and the way that he was just able to add that flair on his side, that's a player right there. I mean, you're not paying six figures for him. You're not just paying $100K for him. You're probably paying upwards of 250 or 300 plus for a player like that. Like, that's a difference maker of a player right there in Jamel Jones. And then you look at the Aggies, Sal, there's just 6 and 10. So it's not just by getting one player. You got to get like one guy around you on your team, and then you got to hope to surround him with some at least decent to notable players out there. I can't, the Miners have really trimmed their rotation. They're not playing a lot of other guys outside of their starting 5. Sure, you're getting a little L.A. Hayes, maybe a little Trey Horton and Cassius Brooks off the bench, and on occasion 1 or 2 minutes from Mohamed Bai. But other than that, it's a pretty much a 7-man rotation for UTEP night in, night out. You asked the question, or Jake poses the question, when are you going to see recruits like this again? Let's say the Miners raise their NIL when they go to the Mountain West next year. They raise that number a little bit. Are you confident enough in the coaching staff? This is a question that we posed time and time again on Sports Talk with Steve Kaplowitz. Are you confident enough in this coaching staff, the way that they're built right now, to recruit high-level talent with a bigger budget going into the Mountain West and going into better competition next year?
I think there's 2 parts to it. One, I think, is finding the guy that you believe can take you to that next level, right? Do you have that guy? You don't really know until the season starts, but aside from that, what makes me lean more towards no on answering this is just the offensive system. You know what I mean? We haven't really seen a player break out offensively consistently. This might be the year that we've probably seen some guys, kind of take charge at different points. Watson, Blackwell at times, even West, especially with his aggressiveness, and Jones kind of, I don't want to say emerging, but building off of what's been a pretty respectable and solid career. So aside from all of that, though, it's hard to look, to kind of look at the roster and say, man, there's somebody that, this year has been playing along the lines of Jamel Jones. So, I mean, it's 2 parts to it. But with the way that the offense has been, we've gotten a really, really, it's beyond a sample size. It's like 1 million, full course meals at this point. But I just haven't seen enough that would make me believe.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines right now. Up next with us is Isaac, our pal. He's joined us here in studio before. He's a student out at New Mexico State. He was out at the Pan Am Center as well here tonight. Sent me a selfie of him and Steve Kaplowitz, which I loved. That was awesome. Isaac, welcome back to the show. I really appreciate you giving us a call out there in Las Cruces. You give me your thoughts. New Mexico State defeats UTEP 67-63. What was the atmosphere like today?
First and foremost, I just want to say, as a photojournalist, as a journalist overall, I just happen to think of the number 50. Why 50? Because everything goes with 50-50. I happen to see how did UTEP manage their defense, how incredible they did. But my gosh, Jamel Jones just happened to just ball out. He knows the ball. He knows what to look out there. He just happens to look out for his teammates. I mean, the way the score happened to be, UTEP shot a very clutch shot. I mean, to tell you something, Adrian, it's so incredible how these type of games, close down to the wire where just one and the other just makes that one shot. And I feel like that was what made the difference. And I think that is what made a closing out of a statement. It was such an incredible ending. I think both teams, fought their tail off. They did their job. And I think, offensively, the Aggies happened to control the ball more. And I think from there, UTEP had the chance. But, I feel like the strategy out of Coach Hooden, he happened to have it. And giving that clutch shot to Jamel Jones, the leader once again, happened to make a game-changer difference. And that's why I think NMSU happened to win good tonight.
Isaac, what'd you think of the fact that this one got a little chippy when it was all said and done?
Well, I think, to start off, very good question. To start off with, I think UTEP, they had the offense to maintain themselves. I felt that UTEP was going to win this game just by the fact that they kept leading up. But, as it was just right in the quarter of the game, I just thought that this was just, very, very like a flip a coin.
I thought it was. It was very much a coin flip, but when you saw both benches clearing at the end during the handshake line and no one really handshaking, what'd you think of all of that? Was it a tense atmosphere at the Pan Am?
I think it was just, both rivalries when it comes to, and every single rivalry you think of the, Michigan, Ohio State, and using examples like that. I feel like every single time, and it's called one word, emotion, every single thing that happens out there like that, it's all emotion. And I feel like it comes from the hyperness that each team thought that they were going to take the win. I just think it just comes out from how you express that emotion too.
Good job, man. I appreciate your phone call, Isaac. Thank you for weighing in. Really good stuff here tonight, and appreciate you as always. Our telephone number, 915-505-6009. Our telephone number, 600-ESPN El Paso. Twitter next, 600ESPNElPaso.com. Let's go to Jim, who's joining us next on the phone lines as we continue here on Miner Talk. Jim, good evening, man. What's going on?
I was at the game tonight, and if you're a college basketball fan, it was a great game. You have some great callers tonight also just lamenting where UTEP basketball is, and quite frankly, UTEP athletics, period. And I think that is a discussion that needs to be had. I think it starts at the top. But the game tonight was great. The teams were playing hard. Unfortunately, KJ went 0 for 7 from three-pointers. He makes 2 of those, and, you may have a different outcome. But it was a fun college basketball game. UTEP, by fact of being in the Mountain West Conference, will have as a mandate a higher NIL level. Golding's problem is he can't recruit, and let's just be honest about that. And so the athletic department and the president, they're going to need to step back and evaluate where this program is going. The city deserves better. The university deserves better. But tonight was a great night. I really enjoyed the game, even though the Miners came out with a loss.
I thought it was an amazing game, right? It was back and forth. It was one of those where you thought at one point the Miners were going to really hang on. They were going to hang strong. They were a tougher team early in the game. Remember, they were up like 17-12, and you felt good about UTEP. And then NMSU rallies back from behind, and then they just put the dagger out there. They beat the Miners 67-63. Miners were playing catch up a lot of the second half. And it was just a really tough outing when it was all said and done. Just didn't like the fact that the Miners, there were some moments in the second half where it was really rough to see, them just not really close out certain things in this one. So, and then the offensive struggles were kind of a downer too. But hey, both sides shot 40% from the floor pretty much, and right around 30% from the perimeter. It just really went down to the wire here. Jim, you tell us, does UTEP get into the tourney here in the CUSA tourney in Huntsville, Alabama?
I think they do. I think the team's trending in the right direction. I think they're playing their best basketball of the year. At the beginning of the year, I think a lot of us forget they almost lost to St. Thomas, and it was just a horrendous team. As bad as the offense is, it's light years ahead of it where it was in November and early December. So I think their chances are good today. Liberty lost. I think the conference tournament is open. There's not a lot that separates each team. So I like their chances in the in the tournament. Just a pivot, really disappointed that Teicher didn't ask Golding about what happened at the end of the game. I was there, and I saw the scuffle, and the PA announcer asked for security to come down to the court. So it wasn't like it was a minor little thing. It was a big deal. And I don't know why Teicher doesn't ask Golding, and apparently Kaplowitz did. But I'm curious as to what his response would have been.
Well, his response was nothing. He did respond, and he said nothing. So I'll play that clip when Steve asked this from earlier today in the scrum. Hey, I appreciate your phone call, Jim. Thank you for weighing in. 915-505-6009. Our telephone number 600 ESPN El Paso. Twitter next 600 ESPNElPaso.com. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. Then we'll go to Robert as you're listening to Miner Talk presented by Jack in the Box here on 600 ESPN El Paso. At 6009 600 ESPN El Paso, Twitter next 915-505-6009. We freed up some phone lines. If you want to weigh in, now is the time to do it. But let's go to Robert, who is joining us next on the phone lines 915-505-6009. Robert, good evening, man. What's going on?
We were at the game, and that's what I was going to ask you, if you knew exactly what happened at the end of the game.
Yeah, I did. I saw the scuffle, or I saw the scrum, I should say, or skirmish, whatever you want to call it, tensions flaring, whatever you want to call it, right? What happened was Joe Golding was going to the handshake line. Somebody from New Mexico State side said something. He went and kind of like clenched Jason Hooten. Just Robert, I would just say just go watch the video yourself. I posted it everywhere. It's on Instagram, it's on it's on Twitter next, it's on Facebook. You'll see it and you'll kind of make the assumption right there of what you think maybe happened. Both coaches had to be separated. Assistants stepped in, then the assistants started separating the players were starting to get into it as well. No pushing, no shoving, just a lot of shouting in close kind of quarters. But yeah, the handshakes didn't happen. Miners went to the tunnel. New Mexico State hung back a little bit, and then they went to the tunnel. Steve asked Joe Golding what happened. He said nothing.
All right. And also, what did y'all think about the officiating? I thought there were some late calls, and I thought there were several reversals that went against our way.
Oh, it was terrible, but it's CUSA refs. What do you expect?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It didn't change it did change the outcome of the game there at the end, some of the reversals. But I just thought they were against us and in favor of the Aggies. But overall it was a good game.
Yeah, overall it was a great game, right? I mean, you tell me, what was the atmosphere like? What was it tense there?
Not till the end. I mean, we were being some of the lone UTEP people in a sea of Aggies we had some good rivalries and everything else. Made some good friends, but no, it was in the stands. It was good.
Okay, good to know. Robert, I appreciate your phone call, man. Thank you for weighing in here on the show with us. 915-505-6009, 600 ESPN El Paso, Twitter next, 600 ESPNElPaso.com, as we continue here on Miner Talk. New Mexico State defeats UTEP 67-63. Sal Montes putting in some overtime here. He's killing it here today with us on the show. I love it.
It feels like when we first started Miner Talk and we were figuring, all these boards out and all these things. So, no, it's cool, man, but it's good. We're getting some good calls, and we want more, man. Let's get all your thoughts out there.
Yeah, let's do it. One of our Call of Famers is on with us right now, Ronnie, who's joining us next on the phone lines, 915-505-6009. Ronnie is back with us after a long time, but he's back. We were texting during the game here with us. New Mexico State defeats UTEP 67-63. Ronnie, everybody wants to talk about the post-game skirmish right now. We've just had a run of calls to talk about this. I'm sure that's that, and the Battle of I-10 is what you're calling about, correct?
I don't even care about the skirmish, man, honestly. I think the skirmish just kind of highlights the season, the tenure of Golding. He has a lot of fight, a lot of passion. I've always appreciated that. But I've always said from day one, like, his teams are not offensively gifted. They don't shoot the ball well. They, really struggle to score. And it's just been like the consistent thing of the teams he's had that have been his actual recruits. And I mean, obviously with the little skirmish, whatever the frustration was, rivalry or not, whatever, we could downplay it. But I mean, you guys have been around sports. You know what it is, right? Like he's got a contract extension. His teams are playing awful, and he's frustrated, And I think that he's a great guy, a stand-up guy. But let's be honest, man, this is just not working. This is just not working. I mean, it's just not. If you think you can take this type of team, this staff, their inability to recruit and put out some type of mediocre offense into the Mountain West, and we're dreaming. We're kidding ourselves. I mean, we're kidding ourselves. And I get that we're not in a position financially to do anything of our own behest. But like I've said many times, think what you want about RT. The most giving thing RT did was go and take that UT assistant job, and I think Golding really should start calling his buddies and do the same exact thing and give UTEP a reset button, because it's just not working, man. It's just not working, and it's only going to get worse. It won't get better when you go into a league that now has the ability to attract a little higher caliber player, because the league cares more about athletics, and it's just not going to get better given their circumstances, their resources, their staff's ability to recruit or lack thereof, whatever you want to call it. It won't get better. It will not get better. Like, what do they say in sports? What starts bad ends bad.
Ronnie, what if they got more money? What if they had more money come their way?
I don't think that matters, man, because I was talking to somebody about Ben McCullum at Iowa, and they gave him like $3 million. And a year before he got there, Fran McCaffrey had $1 million for the entire team. But no one wants to go to Iowa. And the point that I'm making is, when you can't get players, sometimes it's just simply where you're located, your lack of tradition, and the players that you want will keep in contact with you. They'll take you down to their final 2, 3, 4. But at the end of the day, when they decide they want to go somewhere else that fits better or is more conducive to their speed of life, it just is what it is. And I think there are some real disadvantages there that no guy like Golding will be able to overcome. His teams aren't sexy enough, man. Tell me the last time. This is a serious question. I want you guys to tell me this, because you guys are there every day. I'm not. So maybe I'm missing it. I want you guys to tell me this. Tell me the last time you had media credentials requested from NBA scouts to come watch a UTEP player in UTEP game.
Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Bryson
Exactly.
Williams. Don't take Bryson Williams for granted, Ronnie. Ronnie.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Who recruited Bryson Williams? That's my point. Who recruited Bryson Williams? That's my point. Who recruited Bryson Williams and Sule Boom? Okay, then. I rest my case.
Maybe there were some scouts there for that final year of Jamal Bieniemy. What do you think, Sal? Maybe?
Yeah, but I mean, that's still, come on, man.
Who recruited him?
Exactly. No, I get it, yeah.
Like, I think you guys took RT for granted. Like, his team did play defense.
Wait, you're saying a new one. We've never done this one before. Taking Rodney Terry for granted. Rodney Terry. We haven't said this one.
Listen, his teams didn't close out games or play defense, but tell you what, they averaged more than 62 points a game. They shot better than 28% from the three-point line. They were freaking exciting to watch. Now, was he a disappointment? Absolutely. Like, him and Golding are completely different styles of coaches, but the point that I'm making is the end result is still the same. We're in year 3 or 4. I don't know what it is for Golding's tenure, but it ain't going nowhere. Hasn't gone anywhere. And now we got, court skirmishes with the coaching staff. I mean, like, honestly, man, like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? But the point I'm making is, in all seriousness, if you're going to get players now, Adrian, and you don't have money, then the next best thing is saying, I can get you to the next level. And I'm not talking about Uzbekistan overseas. I'm talking about, you know what I mean, a real chance to play in someone's summer league, to get invited to training camp, to have scouts come in there. And when you don't have money and you don't have media guys coming there, scouts, GMs, assistant GMs, whatever, to come look at your practice, look at your games, guess what? Kids go other places where they got that stuff. Ask me why St. John's is playing today on the Garden and Coutinho took the job, because that's what kids want, man. Like, they either want to get paid now or want to get paid in the future. If you go to UTEP right now, are you getting paid in the short term? Probably not. Are you going to get paid in the long term? Probably not. So why would I come there?
I hear you, man. But let me say this: what if the Mountain West levels up, and what if you actually can pull a lot more money? If you're talking to Joe Golding, and let's say he's back next year, they're trying to salvage the run, the tenure here in the Mountain West, and kind of switch things up. Would you advise him to go out there and spend a bag on just one difference maker? Like, how do you talk him into having more success with recruiting?
I'd say if I was honestly having an honest, transparent, behind closed doors, off the record conversation, I would say, look, Joe, I'm not going to pretend to be a D1 coach, but I will say this, my man. Whatever you have been doing is not working. So I would encourage you to go against the grain for one season and do whatever it is that you were against. Just try it, because once again, it can't get any worse. And that's why, to me, Coach K is the greatest coach of all time, because he adapted and he adjusted. He used to have these all-white teams with one black guy, and all of a sudden he started getting these all-black teams with one white guy, and he kept winning. And the best coaches adjust and get rid of their old ways, because they realize, you know what worked 5, 10, 7 years ago ain't going to help me today. And I need to cut down the nets today, so I have to be invigorating. I have to be, assertive, and I got to switch up, and that's what I would encourage Joe Golden to do. Whatever you're against, whatever you haven't done, who cares? Throw it away for one season, and let's just see, because it is not working.
Hey, Ronnie, I appreciate your phone call as always, man. Thank you for weighing in. Thanks for always hanging with us late and calling in to us much, much later on in the program. Zay has made it all the way from Las Cruces. Can't believe he actually showed up. So great stuff there for Zay. But before we get to Zay and all of his thoughts, he was there in person. He saw the Digi Camo uniforms in person in general. Let's switch it over. Let's talk to Hunter. 915-505-6009, our telephone number. Hunter, I don't have access to the telephone, so you actually can talk as long as you want. Like, I have no ability to turn your mic off or anything, so you have the floor, my friend. 67-63. You told me mid-game, you were like, there's no way UTEP's winning it, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, I think they're actually gonna, they're not gonna pull this one off either, but I thought it was gonna be more of a blowout. It ended up being pretty much exactly what you thought, and that was a really close game all the way to the end. So you have the floor. Go ahead.
Man, what an honor following old Ronnie there, man. I can't remember.
It's like the old MinerTalk. It's like MinerTalk when UTEP was winning.
He kind of depressed me, man. I was going to come in a little more positive today, and man, he just kind of like, well, what's there left to say? Or we just got no hope here.
Well, do you have any comment? Let me ask you. Joe Golding didn't have a comment after the game about the post-game scuffle or skirmish or whatever you want to call it. Do you have a comment?
That's displaced frustration, man. Like that was totally. It's his frustration from the season's getting away from him, possibly his coaching career is getting away from him. That was just frustration, and we can't have it, right? Like, your time to battle and your talking should be on the court with your team. And in that position, and you represent this university, and you're supposed to be the head coach, the one in charge. You need to have a little bit more decorum there. That's not, oh, he's fiery or he's passionate. That's stupid. I don't like that, man. You know me, man. I'm a fiery guy myself, man. But there's a time and place, and that's embarrassing, man. You lost the game. Take your licks. I don't care what another assistant coach tells you. Take your licks and move on, man. You're the head coach representing this university. I'd be more embarrassed by that if I were center than by the loss. But, center's been MIA ever since we've been losing. So, he used to be out in the forefront talking and getting opinions and all that. And when's the last time you heard from him?
Yesterday. He joined our show unexpectedly.
I wish I would have heard then. I mean, I would love to hear what that guy has to say, but I was going to talk about something else, but, to a point that Ronnie, I think, touched on, I think a big struggle for Joe Golding is, there's always pipelines and there's always relationships and ties and all that. And I think his are small town, Sam Houston type, Stephen F. Austin type, ACU type ties, maybe some JUCO stuff, but he doesn't have the NBA ties. He doesn't have the big-time coaching ties that, can't make a call to a friend in the SEC or the Big 12.
Actually, he can. His best friend is Chris Beard, so he can make calls to the SEC.
Yeah, well, I mean, where's that gotten us, right? And what ties does he have to the NBA? Really, like, and to Ronnie's point, where's he going to get people, right? Like, you come here to die almost, it seems, but and I've thought about this too. Like, say I had endless amount of money right now, and if I had $4 million to give them, would we see a better product? And I think slightly, right? but I don't trust him to go build a roster. He has not built a successful roster his time here. I don't trust him. I don't think he knows roster management. I don't think he knows the makeup of a roster. And he actually makes up for it with his motivation and kind of creativity by the end of the year. Because it's taken about that much by the time they get ready for conference tournament. Like, hey, they're finally starting to figure out ways to come together and win. And it's not because he put a great roster together. He just somehow finds a way to piece these things together. So I don't think I would trust him with more money to go get the right kind of talent for whatever his system is. Which brings me to my next point. They have good pieces, man. Elijah Jones is a solid piece. Watson's solid. Blackwell solid. West solid. And especially for this league, I think the problem is it's like watching an NBA game. They just have to somebody has to beat their guy. There is no shot within rhythm. There is no, hey, let's get this guy open or scheme for this guy or anything like that. It is a lot of isolation, and we hope West can take on 3 people or Blackwell can pull out some amazing shots or maybe Elijah Jones gets hot or Kasim Watson. You're relying on a system that requires superior talent, which they just do not have.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Hunter, because I agree with you on the talent and the players and everybody that's kind of around this group right here. But if you compare it to New Mexico State, I actually really like their talent. And they have a shot maker. So if you could make like a fantasy trade or a fantasy team of UTEP and New Mexico State combined, give me Elijah Jones, Kasim Watson, Jamal West Jr., and then give me Jalen Randall and Jamel Jones. That's the super team who probably beats Liberty in Conference USA.
Well, yes, I would love to have Jones on this team. And UTEP's really a point guard away from making up for all their deficiencies, right? Like KJ Thomas is not it. He'd be a decent guy off the bench to come eat up about 6-7 minutes a game, and maybe he won't make a couple turnovers in that time. I don't know if that was the only time he played, but he's not it, man. I mean, sometimes he shows a couple flashes, and he seems like a really good kid. He's just not it, It's that simple. But to your point right now, and this is where I was going to be a little more positive, right? You watch this game today between NMSU and UTEP, not knowing records, not knowing standings. It was an outstanding basketball game. It was physical. It was contested. People made big shots. Both teams made adjustments. And if you didn't know any better, and you're talking about Conference USA, you might have thought you had the top 3 teams going at it to see who's going to get better seeding in the tournament. This didn't look like 2 bottom-of-the-barrel teams to me. Did it look like it to you?
No. It looks like 2 teams who could definitely beat Liberty on any given night.
Yeah, this was a high-level basketball game that could have been anybody's game, and UTEP defended well the entire second half. NMSU made low percentage shots. They sank big shots that were highly contested, and they won a contested game at home. And they're playing for their lives too. They're playing for their tournament lives. The coach is coaching for his career also, and they came out on top. I would have loved for UTEP to have won this one, but I saw two teams that went after it in a very good college basketball game. They were pretty equal. And NMSU won this one. UTEP won the one here at the Haskins Center, and that's all you can ask, right? I didn't see 2 horrible teams playing. I saw 2 teams getting after it, man, and then throw out records, and I think everybody would have to agree that was a good college basketball game. It had runs. It had physicality. UTEP was getting dominated down low at first, and then, hey, they stepped it up, and they started being a little bit of a bully down low. I think that Bai, or however you pronounce his name, has no business on the court, man. That guy refuses to grab a rebound. It's unbelievable. I mean, he has zero effort to grab a rebound. That frustrates me more than anything.
Great stuff, Hunter. I appreciate your phone call, man. Thank you for weighing in. I agree with a lot of the points. It was a great college basketball game. I think a lot of people have kind of agreed on that one too. And as far as the tensions flaring, I think that one was, kind of was what it was. But this team in UTEP does have some pieces, which tells me if you do get in the tournament, if you do actually make it out there and you do put yourself into, Huntsville, Alabama, maybe you have a chance to go out there and shock or do the unthinkable, and that is, or that could be, knocking off some teams and making a bit of a run. I think that seems unlikely, though, based on everything we've seen this year. But it's something that we could definitely talk about here on the show as Miner Talk continues. 915-505-6009, 600 ESPN El Paso, Twitter and X. Zay's in the house. We'll get his thoughts in just a second. I've got to get to some thoughts on Twitter next. We've got so many comments, so I'm going to try to rip through these right now without weighing in as much as I want to. Tristan Pence, the poor effort by the Miners in the first half sealed their doom. I give the guys credit for playing as much better in the second half. Thomas shooting 0 for 7 from 3 is unacceptable, especially when he was left open on all those shots. Number 2, the Miners are going to have to win 2 of their last 4 to have any chance at making the CUSA tournament. With regards to Joe Golding's actions at the end of the game, I'm sure it's a result of a very frustrating season. I'll just leave it at that. This is coming in from, let's see, let's get another one. Text Truth Tejano. I agree with the caller Jake from earlier. Our bench players are not contributing enough or scoring consistently enough as we need them to. Also agree that UTEP needs a good recruiter. Joe Golding is not. It would be smart by Jim Center to part ways with coach and press the reset button. This is from El Paso Visuals Deportivos. You knew he had to check in. All these callers into Miner Talk right now who want Joe Golding's head after losing to NMSU tonight are forgetting the Miners just beat the Aggies just 2 weeks ago in a rivalry game in El Paso. Fire Golding? What are you delusional fans thinking? It's a wash. He also followed it up with, funny, why doesn't Ronnie call into 600 ESPN El Paso and Miner Talk when the Miners win? It seemed to be working 2 weeks ago against the same team, but now Ronnie wants UTEP to fire and pay out Golding and end up paying 2 coaches? Call in when they win. Steve Escajeda, who's chiming in, our pal, Football Friday Night. I wonder if the pressure of Golding's 5-year record of 80-80 at UTEP, including 38 and 50 in Conference USA, finally got to him tonight. Wow. 80-80? He's a career 500 coach at UTEP? I didn't know this.
That's interesting, and I'm going to be that guy. I know I was like, throw this number out, but at 80-80 with that sample size, what is the number over Division I opponents?
There you go. That's a good question. I mean, subtract 3, 4 per season, or 2, at least 2 per season,
2, yeah.
And then that's kind of your number. So there you go. Zay is in the house. He is finally here. Before I get to Zay, I got to read this message from Nick Coppola, and I think this is a great way to introduce Zay on the program. Before we get to all our calls, we got full phone lines, and we got to get Zay's thoughts here before we get to everybody else. We've got, joining us next on the phones is going to be Jacob, and then after Jacob, we've got Ed, and then the mayor, Eddie Morelos, is back with us, our pal. So excited about our trio of calls coming in just a second. But Nick Coppola, our pal from the Las Cruces Sun News, said this from Jason Hooten, quote, I probably shouldn't comment, but I'm going to comment because Joe Golding and I are good friends, and we're going to continue to be good friends. Sometimes things get heated. Guys say this, guys say that. Next thing you know, people are going at each other. I don't take anything personal. And Joe Golding just said nothing. So let's go to Zay, who's with us in the house. Zay, you made it from Las Cruces. How was the drive?
It was all right. It was all right. It wasn't as bad considering the eventful loss that UTEP had. I had to put on some Miner Talk. That made the drive much better.
Great. I'm glad.
Much better.
I totally understand that. As far as this matchup right here, Zay, it went back and forth, went to the wire. Give me your takeaways. Digicam was out today, the blue Digicam, your favorite jerseys, and Miners losing that one. Coincidence?
I was going to comment on it as soon as I saw it. As soon as I entered the arena, I was already going to tweet. I was getting ready. And, I'm a pretty nonchalant guy on Twitter now. I don't really live tweet as much. I focus on getting pictures, stuff like that. But it irked me so bad that I was thinking about tweeting, but then I remember they beat Jacksonville State in the Digicam. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep my mouth shut because, they've wanted it before. But as you see tonight, I think we know the reason why UTEP lost. They couldn't see each other on the court. They were camouflaged, So, all jokes aside, it was a great college basketball game, and it's what you'd expect when you have two rivals that are on the similar wavelength when it comes to talent, that are fighting basically for their season right now. And it didn't go UTEP's way. They didn't shoot well from three. 8 of 27, 29%. And the big one, right, KJ Thomas goes 0 of 7 from 3. That was NMSU's plan. They're going to let KJ Thomas shoot, and it's either KJ Thomas beats you or KJ Thomas, goes 0 for 7. And in the first game, we remember he hit 2 big-time threes, one late in the game that ended up really sealing the deal for the Miners. Meanwhile, today, he can't buy a bucket. He can't buy a bucket from beyond the range, and it ends up hurting UTEP in the end. Nonetheless, it was a fun game. It was an enjoyable game. I don't want to be biased, but I didn't like the atmosphere. It was a little. The student section blows UTEP out of the water. I'll say that. The students at NMSU, they were standing the whole game. They had an actual student section, but beyond that, I was a little,
7,600. That's about it.
Didn't feel like it.
Zay, the final one is the tensions flaring at the end. Give me your perspective, because you were right there. You were on the court.
Oh, man. You could sense something was going to go down. I mean, Joe was on the refs all night. Joe, I've never seen Coach Golding this animated, like, ever. Throughout the whole game, he was on the refs. He was jumping up and down. I haven't seen this type of Joe since like year one, when he had all this energy and everything. So obviously it meant a lot to him to try and go out there and get this one done. And then, I'm looking in the handshake line, and Joe is a little aggressive. He's going up a little fast, coming up to Jason Hooten with the arm out already. And I don't think he said something to Hooten first. He said something to someone else. If you see in the video, he's not looking at Hooten the first words he says, and then, Jason Hooten says something back, and everything just breaks loose from there. I ran out. I ran out from where I was. The NMSU security team is, I wouldn't say they're not as good as UTEP, but they're not as, UTEP's a little less lenient. I don't think if I was at UTEP and tried to do that, someone would get me immediately. So I was able to get the good video, not even a good video. If it was like a fight video that you see on Twitter, my hands were shaking. It was so fun, being in the middle of that. I like it. I mean, people are going to call it classless. People are going to say what it is. I mean, they're competitors, you're competitive, and I enjoyed it. I like when people celebrate. I mean, you had the Aggies getting to celebrate with their fans, getting to do all their celebrations. I like that. It's a rivalry game. Let's have some tempers flaring. We had this conversation last time, and I'll stand by it again.
All right, final thing, guys, real quick. Because I think this bears repeating, and I think this is really important when it comes to UTEP and New Mexico State, okay? UTEP went 30% from beyond the arc, but they went 40% from beyond the arc without KJ Thomas. If he has to hit just one of those three-pointers, maybe it changes things. This is coming from our pal Locomotive Miner, Lutep Miner here on the show. OG on MinerTalk. I thought that was a great one. All our OGs are coming out of the woodworks tonight. And he also said, note for the show, this isn't the first time Golding had an outburst during a game. Sal, while I agree with that point right there, I will say this. It is tempers flaring. It is a rivalry game. It should be chippy. It should have some kind of implications at the end where you kind of say, oh, if I was Golding after this one, I would be fired up too. The refs are making horrible decisions. You're frustrated because you had a loss in this one. It was back and forth, and the Miners could have, and maybe some could argue they should have won this one, at least in the first half, if they weren't as bad as they were and weren't as down as they were by 10 points.
I think there were a lot of things that maybe irked Golding, just in general, right? If you're a coach and you see the amount of things that didn't go your way, whether it be calls, whether the ball just bounced, the other way, whether the 50-50 play just happened to fall to the other team, or your best player just happened to make some extra shots despite the defense or poor defense. It's a lot of little things that kind of build up and kind of irk you throughout that tenure, and it's. You have you're down 30 seconds, something along the lines of that, and you have a chance in the Hornets' nest, and you just don't come out with the win. And the frustrating part is, like, kind of look throughout the season. There was an interesting stat, by the way, by John and Yellen post game saying like 14 out of 16 of their last games, UTEP was down double digits. And you're having to do so many things, right? You're trying to climb out of this hole that you dug yourself into. It's likely not going to happen most of the time. So this isn't your only frustrating night at that point. It's a long season, let alone conference season of frustrating losses. So maybe that kind of was the boiling point.
All right, 915-505-6009. Let's go to our next caller here on the program, who is Jacob, who's patiently been waiting here with us. Jacob, good evening, man. New Mexico State defeats UTEP 67-63. What's going on, man?
Hey, Adrian. I was at this game. That atmosphere was great. The fans were into it, but I felt like more UTEP fans could have came out. But besides the fans, the game, I feel like I was really happy. UTEP, they fell off towards the end of the first, going in a half, but they did, like the Livery game, like last week, they didn't affect that. That didn't affect them in the second half. They still came out fighting and wanting to win. But I feel like, Caleb Blackwell, he came out on an 8-0 run himself. And I think just little mistakes caused him to lose the game. And, KJ, he has to hit at least 2 of those threes. And it's not like they were contested or anything. They were wide open, no one around him. So that would have helped a lot. But, it's kind of sad knowing that there's a possibility that they won't make the tournament. And I'm hoping they do, and maybe they could go on that run like that one year when they made it to the conference championship. But that's a lot to ask for right now. But, I'm ready to see what they can do for this last stretch. And then next season we're in a new conference reset, and hopefully we do good.
All right, Jacob. Great call, man. Nerd, yeah, I liked your first point about the need to be more UTEP fans. It's a pivotal game, Jacob. New Mexico State fans went out to the Don Haskins Center. I'm a little disappointed you made it out there. You're a loyal fan, and you've called into this show before. Like, yeah, there should have been more UTEP fans. I'm totally behind you on that. It's a rivalry game, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, good stuff, Jacob. I appreciate your phone call, man. Thank you for weighing in, and excellent stuff. Sal, it's a great point by Jacob, and I guess we got to bring Zay in on this too, since he was there. How are the UTEP fans, Zay?
They're nestled like into the top rightest corner that you'll see, and there wasn't a lot of them. I'll be honest, there was not a lot of UTEP fans, and like I said, I know our guy Jacob. He said it was a good atmosphere. I beg to differ. I really don't think it was great. But, yeah, there were not a lot of UTEP fans. There were definitely more last year, and that's coming off the big loss at home, coming off all that weird stuff that happened. There was definitely more last year than this year.
Sal, you need more UTEP fans out there.
No, you do, and we say this with intensity because it was a great crowd. It was a great atmosphere at the Haskins Center, but a good, respectable chunk of New Mexico State fans were out there at the arena. So I'm not saying like you got to pay them the favor back, but go represent your team. Hey, I know your team's not having the best year, but guess what? That didn't stop the Aggies from coming over to the Haskins Center and watching their team, in enemy territory.
All right, let's go to Ed, who's joining us next on MinerTalk. Let's keep ripping through some phone calls now at 550-505-6009. Ed, good evening, my friend. What's going on?
Hello?
Ed, what's up, man? New Mexico State defeats UTEP 67-63. We could hear you. You go ahead.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make a
point. It's Miner Eddie Mack, our pal. We're really getting all the Miner Call of Famers. What's up, man?
Okay, here we go. I'm going to ask you a question, but I'm going to want your comment after we hang up, and then I want to make a statement about a recruiting strategy that I want to present in 2 weeks. But I'll email you guys so you can give me some time. So
wait, I need like a 15-second version of that after, okay? I need like a 15-second version of the long version of that.
Okay. I want to present a recruiting strategy for next year going into the Mountain West. I've got a bunch of recruiting oompas that are helping me out with this, and I want to give it to you guys and all the fans and see what you guys think. It's a recruiting strategy for the Miners going into the Mountain West for next year.
Let's hear it.
That's all I'm going to say. In 2 weeks, I'll be ready to present it to you.
Okay. You need time to cook it up. You need time to cook it up. Okay.
I need time to cook it up, and I hope you like it. Okay, one question here. I want to make a point, and then I'll talk about the game real quick. Did KJ Lewis leave the University of Arizona,
yes,
Georgetown? Was it worth the NIL? So that's the question that I have for you.
My answer is yes.
Well, your answer is it was worth it?
Yes, it was worth it.
Okay. Well, look where Arizona's at and look where Georgetown's at.
I hear you, but I'll expand on that later, but keep going.
Okay. All right. Here's the thing. When a university gets a coach, you expect that coach to have a development stage. You expect that coach to get to the point where he gets the players that he needs to run what he wants to do. So in year 3 of Coach Golding, that's when we peaked defensively. I think we had 3 categories that we were nationally ranked in the top 10. Is this correct?
Yes, that's right. Like at least in turnover percentage, like percentage of like steals, turnovers forced. I hear what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that year 3 was when he peaked, and he should have just kept that momentum going and then kept those players and kept those stats, because that's really the heart of what he does. It's his defense, and actually just the opposite has happened. We've actually begun a gradual decline, and right now, if you look at those rankings, we're nowhere close where we were 2 years ago. Is this correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you. Yeah, you're right. You're cross-examining me pretty well tonight, Miner Eddie Mac.
Well, the point I'm making here is that he's gone up and he's ascended. He's gotten to the pinnacle, and I feel like defensively we're going in the opposite direction, and that's my biggest concern. That is my biggest concern right now in year 5, and I'm just really concerned, and recruiting has a lot to do with that. But the main thing here is I'm just not seeing the defensive intensity and the numbers that we saw 2 years ago. Anyhow, I'm going to hang up. You guys have a great night. The Miners played hard, but we've been falling short, and that's been happening all season. So let's see what happens going the rest of the way.
Great job, Miner Eddie Mac. I appreciate your phone call, man. Thank you for weighing in here on the show. 915-505-6009 as we continue. We'll get to DeMayor Eddie from Morelos from Las Cruces here in just a second. I do want to bring Zay in on the KJ Lewis conversation. I'm going to say yes, it was okay. You could disagree with me on this, Zay. I'm going to say it was okay of a move because, number one, I don't think Arizona wanted to move forward. I think they had like new ideas at the guard position. 2 years right there with Tommy Lloyd. 2 years of success. Let's not pretend like they didn't have success with KJ Lewis when he was at Arizona, and then Lewis hits the portal. He goes to Georgetown. He's sold on the idea that Ed Cooley and the Hoyas are trying to turn things around, trying to rebuild this squad, and that he's going to be this like defensive specialist who's going to be the guy. But the problem is KJ Lewis has never needed to be like the scoring alpha on a team. He's just not. He might be pressing a little bit too much as a scoring option with this team right here. At the same time, I like how he's he's definitely improved from beyond the arc of where he was last year. And, he's still putting up some pretty good numbers. His steal rate is amazing. I love what he does on the defensive side of the ball. What do you think? How do you judge this move here for KJ Lewis?
Yeah, I agree with what you said. Look, Arizona, they had 2 years with them, and I feel like maybe it was like a mutual part of ways, something like that, right? I like the where you say maybe new ideas at the guard spot. Maybe KJ wanted to take a jump in his offensive, how much he's involved with that, and now he's the leading scorer on a Big East team, and I know they're 13-14. I know they're struggling a lot this year, but one, I can only imagine what that NIL deal was. Two, it gives yourself an opportunity to improve your game under a proven coach on a program that's historically really, really good. So I know that Arizona is a top 5 team right now. They just took down Houston, I think. But at the end of the day, it's a business decision, and I agree with it. I think that he's gotten better. He's gotten better this year at Georgetown more than I really think he would have gotten better at Arizona this year.
I agree. I think that's just the final way we could say it. Sal, what do you think he's going to say about recruiting? He got me thinking.
it's hard to look at stats from one year to another when the players on that roster are also different from one year to another. So I can't really buy into that. But I'm like 50-50. Like, I kind of agree with him because, one of our earlier minor talks during the Golding, first year or two, we were saying, like, man, you want that 50 to 45 game. Like, if they can keep it within 50, they have a chance. It doesn't matter what they do on offense. That's what I was saying, at least first year or two. And, as you go on into years 3, and 4, it's kind of like, well, where's the offense at? You want to sacrifice some of that defense, to get some more offense. And at least this year with the big 3, if that's what we want to call them, I feel a bit more confident when it comes to shots that they got to make down the stretch. Now, I'm not saying I'm all the way there, but if we have to put like a meter, the positioning on the meter for at least this big 3, as opposed to the last 2 or 3 years, it's a little bit higher for me.
Okay, all the minor talk Hall of Famers are on with us right now. We had earlier Ronnie, Hunter, we had minor Eddie Mack, our young guy Jacob, who sounds like a grown man now, and it makes me emotional and sad because it means that we've been on minor talk forever now, but I love it. We've had so many, Luka Moda Minor with 2 texts instead of just 1. I mean, everybody's coming out, and including this man, Eddie Morelos, who's joining us next on the phone lines. I was watching the ESPN Plus broadcast, which, by the way, here's my hot take. My favorite broadcast of all the broadcasts in Conference USA other than UTEP. Like, favorite one, no doubt about it. Adam Young, Russ Bradford, they do a phenomenal job, man. And I got to give a huge shout out to them. But Eddie Morelos, I saw you on the TV broadcast. When they would pan around, I would see you around there. So great job at the stats and informations booth. And give us your thoughts, my man. Great to hear from you.
Adrian, I saw you at Dead Beach today, and you seem to ignore me.
Yeah, you know what? I saw you pass by me, and then you were locked in yourself. I did not ignore you. I did not ignore you.
I'll be honest. We were both locked in.
Yes, exactly. Hey, my apologies, my friend. And whenever I see you, it's nothing but love, my friend. So
I know, Dean. I was just giving you crap. I was heading from Tejanos baseball to Aaron Jones to Miners versus Aggies. So I got a busy weekend myself. You know how I do it, man.
Man, of course. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts, Adrian. I really do. First of all, to UTEP Zay here to talk about his point about the atmosphere. I was at both games at the Don Haskins Center and here at the Pan American Center, and I had the same seat at both games. And I will say, I think Sal might have said that there seemed to be a lot more Aggie fans in the Don a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know about that. But tonight there was hardly no Miner fans, and there typically is a wave of orange whenever this game comes about here in Las Cruces. So I was really surprised as I was telling my partners helping me out today. I was like, wow, it's a good crowd, but there was no orange. I didn't see any orange. And then, so that to touch on that really quick, then I thought during the game, and I even mentioned this to a couple of people that I work with there, I was like, hey, is this deja vu? Didn't we just do this 2 weeks ago? Because there was a point where the Miners were crawling back into it. They really were. And I thought to myself, oh, my gosh, this is getting too close for comfort, and the Miners are going to pull it off again. I really thought that was going to happen. But unfortunately, the Aggies, well, fortunately, should I say, because here I am in Las Cruces, the Aggies won. And I just want to say something there again at the end. We all saw what happened. I think that's going to be the big news.
What was your perspective of it? What happened?
Well, let me get to that. The little scrum there at the end. First, let me say, and I'll tell you what I saw and heard, but let me first say, as an Aggie alum, someone who has paid my money and it's a lot of money because I live in a little spot, right? And a support staff member who puts a lot of time and work into this university. I'm really disappointed in what happened. I really am. It really has left a bad taste in my mouth for just sports overall, kind of, to be honest, and local sports. But So back to what I saw, right? And I hope people go back and look at different videos, which I'm sure people are. I think the frustration for the Miners, and in particular Coach Golding, now that I think about it, man, poor guy, they started there right before the game ended when the Aggies were kind of closing it out with probably, 15 seconds left to go in the game. And you'll have to look at the actions of a couple of players from the Aggies, and there was a little bit of taunting going on, right? And that happens in rivalries. We've already said it. We've all said, hey, that's part of rivalries. However, right, in this day and age, and think about what's going on in the world, and just in general in the world. In this day and age, tempers will flare a little bit more. And I think that is what kind of kicked it off, and then it continued once the game concluded. And again, I didn't see it. So this is where I say I hope people go back and look at videos. Like Zay said, he got some video. I didn't see what it was because Golding didn't go directly at Hooten. He didn't. He was saying something to someone else. And again, I don't know if it was a player or who. And then that's when, okay, as a head coach, shout out to Hooten for backing up his players, like, hey, we got this. That's the part I did hear. And then I don't know what went on from there where in the end it got ugly. And then, again, I just want to say this as a support staff to fans, both fans, all fans in general. There's people who are working games, and they're not doing the job. They're not coaches. They're not part of the coaching staff. Don't go at those people, please. As fans, yes, okay, you're going to yell at the opposing teams, but the support staff people, the athletic trainers, things like that, please let them just work. I'm saying that genuinely right now, and so that kind of disappointed me, and it made me feel like not a victory for the Aggies. And so the rivalry, right? The rivalry.
That's what happens. That's what happens, Eddie. Yeah. I mean, hey, tensions flaring, tempers going at it on both sides. And Eddie, I appreciate your phone call, man. Thank you for giving me your thoughts, and thank you for everything. Yeah, go for it.
One last thing, though, Adrian. Go U of A Wildcats, and good luck to KJ Lewis because he comes out of El Paso.
There you go. And the Hoyas, the Georgetown Hoyas for KJ Lewis. Good stuff. I appreciate you, Eddie Morales. The thing that I liked the most about this call, Sal, was that he reminded me kind of what I thought in the second half is, wow, this feels eerily similar to the first game. Yeah. It really did. I thought at one point New Mexico State could go up by 10, and they almost did. And then the Miners came all the way back in the final couple minutes. They cut it to a basket. The Aggies were the ones who were able to separate themselves, but the Miners had a chance to tie this one up, or at least make it close in the final minutes. They just didn't hit the shots that they did against the Aggies in the first time around when it was at the Don Haskins Center.
You know what I'm thinking of, too, and we brought up the 14 of 16 games that they've played recently. They get down by double digits, and we know how detrimental that can be, but just a general question that I asked myself, and it kind of made me change my perspective on, like, being upset or not, is, like, we know who this team is at this point, but hey, if I told you this team is going to have a chance, as long as they're within a possession or two in the final couple of minutes, knowing what you know about this team, even after the game against St. Thomas, Division III team, even after that game, hey, you're going to have a chance in conference play in the final couple minutes within one or two possessions. You would take that regardless of how it goes. So on one hand, I'm upset because it's like, man, you had a chance there, but then on the other side, it's like, hey, you did have a chance. You just needed to make a couple shots. And knowing what I know about this team, I'll say, hey, I'll take that any chance you could get, especially when you're fighting for places. It's much better to have that than seeing what we've seen in some of the games early on where they were just getting blown out.
Hey, I got to give a big shout out to Colin Deaver, Zay. I mean, Colin Deaver is the ultimate holdback guy. I mean, we've spent all this time on MinerTalk and no shout out to Colin Deaver, somebody that we all know very well in this building, including Chris Collins here from Inspo Lens. Colin Deaver got right into the middle of it, and since he towers over everybody, including the
tallest guy in the court,
exactly, even the guys who are on the court themselves, he's just telling everybody, get back. Zay, big trophy over to our pal Colin Deaver.
Oh, man. There was a couple of times in this game where, there's a media timeout and maybe Caleb Blackwell, Kasim, someone is yapping at the ref. And all I see is Colin with his big clipboard, and he is tall. He's almost as tall as Kasim, man. He's over here. He's like, come on, let's go. Colin,
at halftime, he's like grabbing Caleb Blackwell and like escorting Caleb Blackwell to the tunnel.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about here. Like, Colin, he's on his P's and Q's, man. Like, he's up there quick as soon as he sees, maybe something that's going down the wrong road for UTEP. He's going to get there. He's going to be there to protect the guys, protect the players. So shout out to Colin Deaver, man.
That was insane. The way that we saw that. But good job there by Colin. Let's go to Milkman, our pal. It's the MinerTalk Hall of Famers who are here with us on MinerTalk. 915-505-6009. We're playing all the hits tonight here on MinerTalk. New Mexico State defeats UTEP 67-63. Milkman is now on with us. 915-505-6009. We've got one free phone line. We've had full phone lines all night. If you've been waiting to get in on MinerTalk, now's the time to do it. 915-505-6009. Milkman, good evening. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's going on? What's up, gents? I think we all know what that deal at the end was. That was clear frustration. Probably not just at the season, but my God, Conference USA never ceases to amaze me with how bad their refs are. And that's football, basketball, that's whatever. They're just horrible. Like, it's unbelievable. I can't tell you the number of times, whether it's football or basketball, that I've seen them do a replay on TV, and even the announcers are like, well, that's pretty clear. And the Conference USA refs come back with, no. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But yeah, I'm sure that's what we saw there at the end. I think these two teams have shown that they're pretty evenly matched when you look at the home and home. I mean, like you were saying a little while ago, the same thing happened kind of both games. They look pretty evenly matched. Like we were saying before, the season was lost well early on. So anything after that where they're even competitive or that's gravy. I mean that's good. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the tournament, in the Conference USA tournament. Well, I guess if they make it, right. But I gotta say that when they started dropping those threes in the beginning, I kind of worried that what was going to happen actually happened, and that was they start getting comfortable with the threes, and then they start shooting threes and missing them and not working it in. So I don't know. I almost hope that the threes aren't falling just so that they'll work it in. But boy, it is sweet when those threes do fall, because God. For a minute, I was looking at my dad and I was like, wow, those threes are dropping. Anyway, I don't know. But that's just kind of my take. I don't know. How you guys feeling?
Yeah, I feel pretty similar. Yeah, I would just say I kind of defer back to some of the earlier callers. It was just a really good back and forth college basketball game, Milkman. Like, this was just one of those where you just kind of sit back and you think, it happened and it went in New Mexico State's favor. But the tensions were just so high on both sides. Like, the numbers were pretty even on both sides as well. Like, the numbers that you might not necessarily like on the UTEP perspective was the turnovers that came at inopportune times. But there were other stats that really will justify some of the points for UTEP. The parts that I didn't like were the first half where they went down by 10. That just didn't need to happen because the Miners started off great. I mean, Caleb Blackwell with 11 points and then kind of simmered down. I know everybody was hammering KJ Thomas, but I'll just say this, as a sophomore, or even as a young player in general, you're allowed to have bad games. It's just as a fan, it feels like it's the worst, and it's at the most inopportune times when it's in the Battle of I-10 against a team like the Aggies. Like, if you're KJ Thomas, you're probably not going to feel great about yourself at all after this one. Of course, 0 for 7 from beyond the arc. Like, take that away from UTEP, and the Miners are 8 of 20 from three-point range. Like, they're not as bad from the perimeter. But I'm with you. Like, a lot of that was let's go inside, then let's kick it out. I love when they just go head down, drive to the damn basketball or drive to the damn hoop and get fouled. And that's usually Jamal West Jr. who initiates that right there. Look at what he did. 8 for 10 from the free throw line. Like, he was really on, and he had a lot of aggression in this one. He was showing me some footwork today that I don't think we ever saw from Jamal West Jr. And he was real impressive to me. So again, I go back to some of the like pros of this team, Milkman. And I just think like this team isn't as bad as maybe we thought like December, January. Like, I thought they were like one of the worst teams in CUSA at certain points during those losing stretches that they had. But they've kind of flipped the script and shown that they can hang with anybody out there. The issue is just closing out games, right? And like being able to do that on the road. And they did it against Jacksonville State, sure. And against the Aggies, it was a game that they really, really needed. And now they're going to have to scratch and claw for that final spot in the CUSA tournament.
I mean, to be honest with you, if you think back to December, back earlier in the season, did you really think we'd be playing the Aggies this close? I mean, it's a good point. Yeah, I mean, so clearly things are much different, and I think that's a matter of them. Some of the other callers were talking about them just playing together throughout the year. That eventually something has to start gelling. I am worried about when we step up the competition in the Mountain West. However, that does have there's two sides to that coin, right? Because players may also want to play against better competition. So who knows? All I know is that there will be more money involved, and I certainly hope. I will say this. I heard you guys interview, or I heard Sports Talk interview Coach Scotty Walden the other day, and it sounds to me, I don't know if he was just talking for football, I think he was talking for the university, that they're starting to kick their NIL in gear. I can only hope smarter minds than me are figuring out a way to get blood from a turnip. So I really do hope they are stepping up that NIL, because they're going to need to.
I'm with you completely, my man. Hey, I appreciate you, Milkman. Thank you for weighing in. Thanks for calling in on MinerTalk here as we continue here on this evening. 915-505-6009. Let's do this. Before we get to more phone calls, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. Whew, we haven't taken a break at all. We've been powering through a busy MinerTalk, an emotional MinerTalk after the Battle of I-10. New Mexico State defeats UTEP 67-63. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in less than 10 seconds as you're listening to MinerTalk, brought to you by Jack in the Box right here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Now 915-505-6009, along with Sal Montes, Zay Galindo, Chris Collins, I'm Adrian Broadus. 600 ESPN El Paso is how you're listening to us. Our app, 600 ESPN El Paso as well. You could chat with us in real time. We've got messages on our app, including Robert, who said they lost in the last 5 minutes of the first half. Why they keep playing Horton, and all I could say is the refs are horrible. This is coming in from Jules. UTEP struggles aren't only attributed to NIL budget. We suck because we aren't an attractive program, and we aren't an attractive program because we suck. Joe Golding's style of play will never attract high-level talent, no matter how much money we're offering. If we got a bag for a player, someone's got that same bag and likely a better program. This is coming in from Drew. 2 weeks ago, I couldn't see us missing the conference tournament. Now, I don't even know if we'll get in. These are some of the darkest days for UTEP basketball. If we miss the tourney, is Golding out? I don't know, man. I thought at one point, earlier this year, that this was going south, like just in general, like really, really south, and then they pick back up. Like over the last 10 games or so, they've obviously been much more competitive. So you can't like just obviously like axe them right there. There's still time left in the season. I think there's still. I know where the fan base feels at right now. I know it's if you had to do just the popularity or where it was. I think in December, January, the popularity and the interest level was really low, Sal. And I think now I would say it's just a little in limbo. It's kind of like I don't know what to really make of that right there or that question. If they were to miss the CUSA tournament, what happens next? I think you have to factor in all the other side of it, and the fact that they just gave them an extension, the fact that buyout isn't cheap, the fact that you go out there and you think for UTEP, like to go out there and make a jump to the Mountain West takes a financial commitment. We just talked to Milkman. You're making a financial commitment and getting more NIL resources. Like these are the times I think for UTEP, like you got to go out there and you got to think, how can you remain competitive? How can you continue to inspire your fan base or motivate your fan base moving forward? And those are all the things that are going to kind of play into factor or into all the decision making going into the off season. And I think that's when we can truly evaluate things on who will stay and who will go.
And you get a really good kickstart with these final 4 games, and I'm going to reel off who the Miners got. They got Middle, Western, Kennesaw, and Jacksonville State. And as far as Western and Kennesaw, that's places 3 and 4 in Conference USA. Jackson
and Western
6.
Just beat Liberty.
Exactly, and Middle Tennessee right below Jacks at 7 and 9. Who record-wise, overall, the Miners, Middle Tennessee has 13 wins. Miners only 10. But when it comes to the conference record, Miners only 1 game behind them. So we have a chance to itch closer. But my point is, all of these teams are ahead of you in the standings. You got to be able to weather the storm. And you're going to play some teams who are fighting for some solid positioning on their end. But the fact of the matter is, if it comes down to a tiebreaker with New Mexico State for conference record, they're probably going to miss out because New Mexico State has 3 more wins than them. FIU, 3 more wins than them. Missouri State, 3 more wins. Middle, 3. You know what I mean? So just looking ahead of it, it's going to be really tough. But in order to make it to the conference tournament, you got to be able to do well here. And this is going to be a big, a big part of the answer. Like, what do they do if they miss the tournament? Well, don't miss it. Win some of those games and you can get in. It's not a really hard conference, guys. They just got to give themselves a chance. But I don't know, man. We've seen this dance before. Time is running out right now.
Zay, I want to throw this one at you. Steve Kaplowitz was awesome with all the comments and videos that were sent to us through social media and through the vertical videos that we had out there. But let's hear the comments from head coach Joe Golding. You were in the scrum, correct? Am I right on that? You were in the post-game presser, correct? Oh, no, you left on that. But let's hear the comments real quick from head coach Joe Golding on the tensions rising late in the contest, or I should say post-game.
We obviously could do a better job of getting the ball inside. We shoot 38 free throws or something like that the first game. We only shoot 13 tonight. I think that's the biggest difference.
Joe, what happened after the game?
Oh, nothing. Yeah.
There you go. There's your comments right there. There's the comments. Zay, your thoughts?
Someone had to ask it, right? So shout out Steve. And, I was watching, waiting for. I don't know what he was going to say. What can you say after that? I don't know. It's a weird situation. It's the first that I think Joe has had at UTEP. Something like this to happen, like it was a wild game, and I guess we'll never really know exactly what happened. But I do think it went along the lines of I think Joe was saying something to a player, and Hooten stepped up to the player, and this is all just from my point of view, right? I didn't have no mic'd up. If you guys want to. Are there any lip readers out there? If you're a lip reader, go zoom to, that Twitter video. But I think it just went something along that. Tempers flared, and that's what it was. You're competitive. This is a big game. This is a big game for both programs. Look at the state that both programs are at. They don't want to be here. They don't want to be fighting to get into the final spot of the Conference USA tournament. Not the NCAA tournament. The Conference USA tournament. So, no one is happy after that loss, and yeah, I like that answer, kind of. It's funny. Nothing to say. Nothing.
Okay, let's go back to the phones. We got full phone lines. Let's first Let's first go to George, who's going to join us, who's been patiently waiting. He's been hanging on with us for a while. We've got Brian, who's going to be joining us. We also have our pal Sidelines, Kevin Bazar, who's going to be joining us, and Enrique, who I saw not too long ago. So back to full phone lines we go here on Miner Talk, 915-505-6009, presented by Jack in the Box, open 365, 24/7, because cravings don't have a curfew. If you're looking for a spot for some late-night munchies, check out Jack in the Box, our spot here on Miner Talk. Let's go back to George, who's joining us next. George, good evening, my friend. What's going on?
Okay, so my voice is back, guys. My voice is back. And Orly, I have a bone to pick with him. You know, maybe we didn't win the conference championship or even NCAA championship, but just the fact that I'm a Miner fan and we beat the overstate rival, you know, to me, it was a big deal. And I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed that we went to overtime. I wish this game would have gone into overtime. And I'm pretty sure something along the lines of what happened at the last game, I was more than positive it was going to happen at this game, which is there was a scuffle in between the second half and the end of the game. I just knew that tensions were going to boil over. Why? Because it's a rival game. I mean, it's NMSU with UTEP. Anyone that's been a UTEP fan knows that UTEP and NMSU have no love lost, you know. And I want to say something very quickly of what my perspective is of this team. I really have not seen a real clear identity of this team. Going back to Joe Golding and starting at UTEP, I saw a high-intensity team, very defensive-minded. I don't see that in this team. I don't see any real guard play. I see our big shooting, splashing, making some great effort. But, you know, like somebody said before, we're like a guard away from being a really talented team. I mean, this team is talented. You Jamal, you got Kasim Watson, you got this really stacked Jones, you know, Thomas. They're good, but, I mean, you just need somebody that can gel everybody together. I don't know if you see that, but I do. And then on the defensive side, I don't see the hustle that I used to see. I don't see the intensity that these players, they lack it. They just are very lackadaisical. They just, you know, they do pass the ball well, but I don't see the intensity that I saw before. I just think that Golding has plateaued and hasn't really picked up anyone that we can notably say that's an alpha that can be a game changer for this team.
Yeah, I'm with you, George. And, hey, I appreciate your phone call, man. Thank you for weighing in. I'll say this, as far as the defense goes, when you look at the conference-only numbers by KenPom, UTEP is 10th in defense out of 12, and that's unheard of with UTEP basketball. Like, at least, you look back on that tough season they had under Golding in, 2022-23. They struggled that year. They had a losing season that year, but their conference-only numbers on defense were great. In fact, their KenPom numbers in the country were great that year. They were 14-18. They had a losing season. They were third in Conference USA in defense-only stats. And then in the country, they were 81st in overall defense. This year, when you look at their numbers, they're 208 in the country, 208th in the country on defense. And then on offense, you look at this, in conference-only numbers, you look at them, they're 10th by KenPom. So there you go. Let's go back to the phones. It's Kevin who's going to be joining us next, 915-505-6009. Kevin Bazar is back with us. Check him out on Twitter next or any social media platform, Sidelines UTEP, and he's now back with us here on Miner Talk. A tough loss here for UTEP in the Battle of I-10, Kevin. Where are you here with this one, and especially with the tensions boiling over in the postgame?
First off, man, I think if Vegas were to bet on a Joe Golding versus Jason Hooten fight, I think Golding would be the heavy favorite. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, come on!
When I saw that post game little interaction, I was like, oh my god. I haven't been talking the best about Joe Golding, but oh my god, man, I wanted to run through a brick wall after that because God knows what Hooten's telling his players. Because, I mean, you guys, you see Hooten on the sidelines. He's all dancing, tap dancing around and just yelling, screaming. He's very enthusiastic, He's very competitive. And, I dig that. I dig a competitive coach. But, coming down to the postgame and just seeing Golding kind of just fired up, Hooten probably told him something that, really ticked him off, So, man, I got to run through a brick wall for Joe Golding right now, guys. I don't know about you.
Okay, all right. So you're very positive about this one, right? Like, this didn't bother you. For some of our callers, it bothered them, Kevin. It really bothered them, seriously.
Guys, do you guys not? All right, so, I mean, no, I can't say this, but, if you guys didn't know, Don Haskins, he didn't get into fights with coaches and stuff, but, man, he would hackle with the officials almost on a daily basis or on an every night basis when they had a game at the Don. He would hackle with them. He would hackle with them all the time, and I get now new UTEP fans nowadays aren't kind of used to that, but, man, that's a coach that cares. That's a coach that cares about the program, coach that really cares about his players. I like seeing that. But granted, UTEP is 10-17 right now, guys. That's just not going to cut it. Not going to cut it at all.
No, and they might miss the CSA tournament when it's all said and done, Kevin. So where do they go from here?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think UTEP athletics needs a whole overhaul. I think they really just got to take into consideration all their athletic coaches, from volleyball, football, track and field. They got to really just take into consideration and kind of throw into their mind, okay, are we going to be competitive in the Mountain West next year, or are we going to just resume where we're at right now? Because, guys, we are 10-17 in an FCS football conference, like a call-up conference, and our football team's even worse than our basketball team. So at the end of the day, football and basketball are making your most money. You want to be competitive heading at least into year 2 or year 3, And quite frankly, guys, being a 2-win football team or a 10-win basketball team just isn't going to cut in the Mountain West. So I really hope UTEP figures it out. Regardless if people want to fire Joe Golding or not, guys, I think we're at least stuck with him for another 2 seasons.
All right.
Let's be honest. We're not going to pay him out of that contract. So, I mean, I guess just hang tight and let's just see what happens, right?
Let's just see what happens, Kevin. Let's do it. Hey, I appreciate you as always, man. Thanks for calling in. Fiery call from you, Kevin. Good job today. There you go. That's our boy Kevin Bizarre who's joining us here on the phone lines. Let's go. Let's keep it moving. We got Brian who's joining us next. 915-505-6009. Man, we're really playing the hits. If Brian's calling us after some basketball, Brian, good evening. What's going on?
Well, we lost again. That's par of the course for this UTEP team, but it just adds up to my terrible weekend because yesterday I got a citation and now UTEP loses.
What'd you get the citation for? Oh, Brian.
Rolling stop.
A rolling stop.
That's it. Come on. Free Brian, guys.
Free Brian.
Yeah, that's bad on them.
Fine. I'll get dismissed with a driving safety course. I'm good.
First-time offender. Good job. Hey, you made it to what? 19, 20 years old for first offender? That's not bad.
Yep. Anyway, like a lot of folks have said, there are lots of key players on this team, but they just don't seem to click. I've been a KJ Thomas fan for a while, but sadly, he's not really the point guard that we necessarily need. We need someone who's larger and all that. And while KJ Thomas can be good off the bench for a few minutes, I do believe that if you do have a more powerful and stronger point guard, you'd have a solid team because guys like Jamal West, Kasim Watson, Caleb Blackwell, Elijah Jones, they can all add up and make good plays, but if it doesn't all click together, then you're left with a 10-17 basketball team, and that is just embarrassing if you ask me.
Wow. Yeah. Brian, where do they go from this? What happens next?
I'd say we maybe end the season with 20 losses, probably.
Yeah, that's not great. That's not great right there, Brian.
What a shame.
Yeah, what a shame indeed. Hey, I appreciate your phone call, Brian. Good to hear from you, man. Hope the driver's ed or all of that, the safety courses pay off and good stuff by getting that dismissed. So good job, man. Appreciate your phone call. 915-505-6009. Next up with us here on the show, let's go to Enrique. Enrique, it was great to see you at the Shack. How about the Miners?
How about the Miners? Man, I will say this. I'm going to piggyback off the sidelines, and I like seeing Golding get all fired up because he's right. If he's getting fired up, he cares about the program. He cares about his kids. And I grew up in the Don era. That's the whole reason why we called him the Bear. He was always grounding around.
What was that? What was that right there?
That was a bear because he was always mouthing off. He was always grabbing at the officials. And let's not forget Bobby Knight. Come on, that guy threw a chair to the court.
It's 2026.
What was that?
I said it's 2026, though.
Yeah, but I miss coaches like that. They get all fired up, they get all heated into the game and fighting for their players. I like to. I had my fair share of my Golding exclamation, but the guy's doing the best with what he's got with. We gotta remember, we gotta cut him some slack. We lost 90% of our team last year to the transfer portal. We pretty much had to build this team from scratch, and the fact that we're kind of competitive, maybe not exactly where we were at last year, granted, but this is not the same team from last year. It's a 90-95% completely different team. And right now we're seeing some shimmers and hopes of who's going to be leading us in the conference, like KJ Thomas, L.A. Hayes. These are the guys that are going to be the backbone of our future. And
but you believe in continuity? No, I mean, Enrique, the average college player goes to 2 or 3 colleges, and you believe in this continuity because that's not how UTEP's built success in the past.
Well, I don't think we're going to lose as many players as we did last year.
Based on what? Really Based on what? Like, what is that? Like, do you know how they feel? Do you know how UTEP... What if UTEP wants a full reset? What if the players want a full reset? Like, based on what?
I can only speak from what I've heard from KJ's dad, and I'm not putting him out there. From what I gather from our conversations, they like it here.
Well, okay, KJ's one guy.
Okay. David Terrell liked it here.
David Terrell liked it here. Great point by Sal. Great point. David Terrell liked it here. And before David Terrell, there was a lot of other players here who liked it. It's just college basketball. It's just the law of averages. It's attrition. That doesn't just happen at UTEP. It happens everywhere. So just to say, I think what you can do after this season, Enrique, is pick 3 or 4 guys that you realistically think that could return to this roster or this team, and then base it off that. But to just say hey, they've got all these guys who they're going to bring back next year, and then they can get more recruits to put around them. These guys don't want to come back and be a backup next year. They're obviously playing a ton of minutes and starting effort, but do they want to come back and be a 6th man next year, or come off the bench or something like that? I don't know.
I don't think KJ is going to be a backup, though. Granted, okay, being realistically thinking here, we are going to probably lose about 80-85% of this team. But who do you think is going to stick around? I think KJ will stick around. I think there'll be a couple, maybe 3 or maybe lucky 3 or 4. But looking at some of the kids we're bringing in for next year, it looks promising. But the thing that's going to be helping us the most is we're really vamping up this NIL program. And it's going to come down to a lot of us really putting in our effort, our money, season tickets or donations or everything. Because look what Scotty Walden did. He raised up close to $500,000. So if we can get that going for basketball, we can get that going over there maybe and help retain players.
Fair. No, you know what? That's a fair statement, Enrique. And hey, man, I appreciate your phone call. Thank you for weighing in, Enrique, as always. Let's move on to another call. 915-505-6009, our telephone number. 600 ESPN El Paso, Twitter next. The last point was actually the best point. Hey, they're gonna get more money. They have an ability to retain. But today, I just think it's tough to just go out there on the limb and say hey, these guys are definitively back, especially right now into the season. We haven't even hit the full stretch. Adversity has hit a lot of these players, including tonight, KJ Thomas. And so I think we just have to be careful when it comes to I think it's fun and it's fair for us to make assumptions or think hey, this guy might come back, or this guy has a chance to return, or whatever. That's okay. And if I had to make my short list, I'd say realistically, and based on, things that Enrique was just saying for NIL purposes or whatever, you could look at guys like KJ Thomas, sure, fine, but maybe you have to make a wish list between the likes of Caleb Blackwell, Kasim Watson, and Elijah Jones, who are all eligible to return for a final season at UTEP. And maybe you get one of those three. And then around that, you try to maybe keep an L.A. Hayes, maybe retain a Cassius Brooks. Who knows? But how do you view that? I think it's complicated.
Yeah, I think you definitely lose one of, if not more, of Kasim, Caleb, and Elijah, right? I think you can kind of write that in stone. That's just how it is, you know? And look, honestly, out of all these guys, I wouldn't mind starting new going into the Mountain West. And that's not a dig to any of these players, but, I mean, look where you're at. You're 10-17. If you want to bank on development, that's fine, but you've seen what, you had continuity last year. It didn't get you anywhere. It didn't get you past, the quarterfinals of the Conference USA tournament. I mean, you barely won the play-in game. So I'm not a big fan. I know continuity can work. You see it with Liberty. You see that it's, a very key piece on their team, but it's not the end-all, be-all. I'm not going to sit here and say that, if there was a team that's 90% new next year, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, it's a rebuilding year. No, the transfer portal gives and the transfer portal takes. So you can have a group of new guys come in and you can be competitive in the Mountain West, right? So I don't mind it. If the NIL is better, I don't mind them going clean slate, and I also don't mind them, trying to bring back some of these guys. But at the end of the day, it's 50-50 with any one of these guys, with KJ, with anybody. I mean, you can't say this guy's coming back for sure, and I agree with that.
Hey, 915-505-6009. That's our telephone number if you want to weigh in. 600 ESPN El Paso, Twitter next, 600 ESPNElPaso.com. Chris Collins, our pal over here, who's helping us and is the reason why we are live on Inspo Lens, the reason why you can watch us on Twitter next, and the reason why you could watch us on YouTube, has this amazing setup for us. He asked Grok the following for Joe Golding and Jason Hooten to lip read the interaction. I don't think I can dive into what was said, but I will say that it was very interesting. And Sal, maybe we could take a little of the Grok knowledge for the lip reading on what could have been said between Joe Golding and Jason Hooten.
Yeah, hey, it's there. I mean, Grok is everywhere, right? So Grok's obviously going to know the answer, but just kind of what I was looking at the video after reading the explanation that Grok had put in. It makes a little bit of sense. Obviously, it's not going to be 100%. Plus, we'll never know because we weren't there too. But just from looking at it, it looks like Golding was talking at somebody else, and he kind of looks confused. And there's a video out there where it looks like Joe's just going at Hooten, and that's not really the case. It's like they cut right to the part where Hooten and Golding kind of met up. But this was happening lots of seconds before those two even approached each other. Golding was talking to somebody else. Who it was, I don't know. But Hooten kind of looking confused, like, hey, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And, tempers flared after that with Golding and whoever it was that he was yelling at.
Hey, this is from Visuals Deportivos again. To be fair, it looks like Joe Golding took the loss like a professional and just wanted to get out of there. But Jason Hooten stepped in front of Joe Golding and stopped him twice. Placing his hand on the chest of a person who isn't happy about losing didn't help. Hooten could have texted later tonight. Okay. Roland Bear, also from the 915, UTEP Miner fans, what was Joe Golding so upset about right after the loss to New Mexico State? Was it toward an Aggie player or coach? I don't know. This is sad UTEP Zay. Evil UTEP Adrian is gone, and now sad UTEP Zay is here. A burner account. Zay, how do you feel about having a burner?
I've seen this one. I've seen it. It has my edited picture, and it's me with a frown. And I was just laughing. You know what? I was happy. Everybody got a burner but me, so I'm glad to be part of the fun.
He says, this sucks so much. KJ, what happened, my guy? I was a long truther for so long. We need to win more or else we are beyond screwed. Hashtag MinerTalk. Hashtag no way Zay. Hashtag Sal is not my pal. That's awesome.
I love it.
Oh, it's
I'm
so
sad,
good.
man. Come on, I want to be your pal.
That is so good. Pinky says Coach Cox pushed Joe Golding back. Pinky also said NMSU is an on-campus university, while UTEP is a commuter university. What I'm saying is New Mexico State has about 20 dorms right next to all the sports complexes, so nothing to do but all the sporting events. UTEP only has athletic and student dorms for foreign students. Just saying, hashtag MinerTalk. It is a commuter school. I mean, Zay, you could attest to this. You're a student at UTEP. There's a lot of people who go to school and then they go home. Like, that's just, it's been the case when I was at school. It was the case when Sal was at school, and it's still the case now.
Yeah, and I just don't think that, a lot of students care about basketball. Even with football, you'll have a solid student section. I haven't seen like a single good student section this whole year for basketball. Like, it's been absolutely terrible. So yeah, I agree with Pinky.
Okay, more comments coming in. This is from this coming in from Chris Banks. You guys got to ask Colin Deaver. He seems to be in the middle of all of these scrums. I think he's UTEP's get back guy. LOL. I said it, dude. He needs sign him up right now. He is the ultimate get back guy, whatever you want to call that. This is from Asher Wildman, who is a former local TV sports reporter here in El Paso. Another poop hire by UTEP. Quite the run between football and basketball that they're on. This is coming in from the likes of Joe Chacon. Wow. Haven't seen Joe Chacon in a while. Didn't know if you saw this, but caught my eye. Looks like Jim Center is frustrated with how things are going, or he's snoozing right there at the end of the game. This is from Will at Far West, Texas. Great calls by Ronnie and Hunter. Hunter is right on Coach Joe Golding. At the end of it was Bush League and unbecoming. With Jerome Tame's situation and the eventual case, could Jim Center fire with cause? No. I'm not going that far. Anybody want to like go against me, or anyone want to say anything? I don't want to.
I think there's 4 games left.
For cause? No. Come on. That's ridiculous.
Come on, guys. Like,
he yelled.
Yeah, he yelled. There was some tempers flare. I mean, Jerome Tang was like, these guys should never wear the Kansas State jersey ever again. Even then. Like,
soft.
Yeah, it's soft. Come on, guys. Like, let's have some intensity. I know UTEP's 10-17. I know people, I know where you stand on Coach Golding, but it's not that deep. It really is not that deep.
I can't even believe that we got that. I know that people are like, I'm going to sound like a backer or whatever, but I can't believe we got that one right there. But I did want to read it, and I did want to mention it. So either way, let's keep it moving. 915-505-6009, our telephone number. If you've been waiting to get in on the program, 600 ESPN El Paso, Twitter next, our app, 600 ESPN El Paso, or our phone lines, 915-505-6009. Drew checking in late. I'm tired of people acting like UTEP's only team that has to deal with the transfer portal. Stop making excuses and demand that our coaches and administrators adapt. Exactly. I'm with you, Drew. Yeah, like, they're not the only school that has to adapt. Like, they're not the only school who's losing teams or losing players or has to think right now which players are going to leave in the offseason. It's not the only one. So with you on that completely. Augustine is next with us on the phone lines, 915-505-6009. Augustine, my man, what's going on?
Adrian, good evening, and good evening to everybody. And I'm going to think outside the box for a second. And this came to me when I was listening to everybody's phone calls and tweets and all that. And I just say the following: there will be no such thing as legacy players anymore. We're at that point, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing: we need to have legacy coaches. Coaches that are for sure going to be at a program and give a sure thing to those players, like a sure coach, and give him time, give Golding a 15-year contract so he can actually build something, build some kind of rapport, build some kind of, some kind of quote-unquote equity with the program, because unless UTEP gets one of those big-name coaches down here, then players are not going to want to come down here. He's going to have to convince the medium players to come down. You give him time, then players will think, well, wait a second, there's some consistency down there at UTEP. At least that, because Are we ever going to get one of those big name coaches down here? No, I don't think so. So the thing is, with the NIL era, which is basically the rebuild era, the rebuild every year, as you guys have said it.
Where is this going?
Why not give a coach the time needed to build his name along with the school? Because
you're insane. I don't even want to entertain this. I got to stop this. I got to stop this madness. Augustine, you were on a good run. You had some sensible calls, but then you had to take the car and steer it off the freeway. What is going on here?
I'm just saying there's no such thing as legacy players anymore because players are going to come and go with NIL and NIL money. So why not try to build a coach? And UTEP will have to build them from scratch because I don't know what kind of coaches we can demand to come to UTEP. So we got Golding. So why not build around Golding right now and decide as a program, a city, and a region to rebuild with this guy? And say, you know what, man, we're going to be with you for the next 15 years so you can build up and build a good program. We can't
do this. I'm sorry. I tried. There's no way. I can't even respond. Any response to this one, guys? I can't respond.
We're a third of the way there. You know what I mean? So is it a 15-year extension or 15 years total? Because if so, just another extension for nearly a decade. I see the vision.
I can't entertain this. At all. This was terrible. Come on, Augustine. You had a good run of calls not too long ago, and you drove the car off the freeway. Yeah, or off whatever.
Off of I-10 after the Battle of I-10.
Yeah, off I-10 after the Battle of I-10. Off Trans Mountain after you're trying to get back home. Something like that. This is terrible. Come on, Augustine. What's going on here? Guys, I just got a couple final points to hit on. If anybody wants to call in and chime in with any thoughts, 915-505-6009. Okay. The game started with Blackwell's 11 points in 6 minutes. You guys could jump in anytime. Anytime you guys, I'll have your mic hot, Zay, and you jump in as well as Sal anytime you want. Okay. Caleb Blackwell had 11 points in the first 6 minutes. It was Jamal West Jr. and Caleb Blackwell who had all 15 points when the Miners were up 15-10 early in the game. KJ Thomas missed 3 straight 3-pointers, and he had a turnover in a stretch when the Aggies started to rally back. Miners were up 17-12. Then the Aggies started to rally back. They took the lead 29-22. The halftime score was 35-25, which was mind-blowing to me. Like, the tip-in at the end was just ridiculous. And another game, just chalk it up, another game in which the Miners just close out the first half in not the right way, like in just the complete opposite way that you want to do it. Since the Miners, or when the Miners led 17-12, the Aggies flipped the script and they outscored UTEP 23-8 to close out the first half right there. That was deflating going into halftime. But you credit the Miners for battling back to start the second half. UTEP 15-11 outscored the Aggies. A shot clock violation and a goaltending that wasn't called, like a phantom one, and the Aggies get this tip in, and then they're up 46-44. Miners then went on a 19-11 run, which they were outscoring the Aggies in the second half, and you felt good if you were a Miner fan. They were down by just a basket. New Mexico State then started to distance themselves 57-50. I was worried. This is sound the alarms because this is right under 5 minutes. And guess who comes in off the bench? Guess when the Miners had zero momentum off the bench from any of their guards, who comes in off the bench and splashes a 3? Oh, you guessed it. I didn't even have to watch this game, and I can tell you who it was. Who was it, Zay?
L.A. Hayes.
And Hayes himself played great off the bench. He really contributed. So it was just back and forth down the stretch. But let me just say this. For L.A. Hayes to come in off the bench and hit a 3 in a pivotal stretch, that's a huge plus. He has some deficiencies as a guard, but come on. That was huge right there for him. And then Aggies are up 59-53, and I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't see it. But right out of a timeout, Kasim the Dream Watson hits a three-pointer. So then it's 59-56. Okay, the Aggies score back-to-back. It's 63-59 after a Caleb Blackwell three-pointer. This was also by desperation. Under 90 seconds to go. And I was just like, I don't know. Their defense is just not holding them the way that they needed to. But on the following possession, right after Caleb Blackwell hit that three, the Miners held. I actually attribute it as a bad possession by the Aggies down the stretch. Miners get the ball back. Jamal West Jr. makes some free throws. So if you're doing the numbers right, 63-61. And then New Mexico State able to make that huge shot by Jamel Jones. And he's going up against KJ Thomas. Thomas has the hand in his face. So anybody wants to knock Thomas tonight, knock him for the 0 for 7 from beyond the arc. Knock him for the 2 turnovers, no assists. Knock him for all that, right? Don't knock him for that defense on that final possession. That just takes a difference maker, a game changer like Jamel Jones. And you know what? If when you're playing pickup basketball, Zay, and you're going up one-on-one against somebody, as a defender, all you can do is have that hand in that guy's face. And sometimes the other guy just makes a shot. And that's just basketball. That's truly what this sport is.
Yeah, I mean, last game, Jamel Jones, last battle of I-10 in the Haskins Center, he had a big shot like that late, and obviously NMSU doesn't end up winning. Or you know what? It wasn't Jamel Jones. What am I talking about? It was Colin Porter, and KJ Thomas had that assignment too, and he had a late dagger. It's a mid-range shot, and it was good defense from KJ Thomas, and he just said, you just got to smack him on the behind and say, good shot. There's not much else you can do, right? In that possession, KJ Thomas is all up in his face. I mean, he just got to his spot. Jamel Jones got to his spot. He loves that, free throw line jumper. Turn around, that was a dagger. That's how it is. That's basketball.
Yeah, I agree. It's basketball, 100%. And Sal, I mean, any thoughts on the final possessions, final stretch of this one for New Mexico State, kind of closing it out when it really mattered?
Yeah, they both teams kind of played the way that they drew it up in that sense. Get a hand in Jones' face, and Jones, doesn't matter if there's a hand in your face, pull up. Wasn't able to make some of those shots down the stretch the other night here in El Paso, but he was able to do it here, and we talk like 50-50, right? Well, this was that other side of it that went their way. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, man. It was just his night, and we knew this about Jones. Matter of fact, not us, but like in general, I think every team that the Aggies go against, their coaching staff knows it. The players know it. Jones is going to get it sometimes, and it's just going to let it rip, and you can't do anything about it. So if the game's, kind of, on the pendulum, and he has the ball, they're going to have a chance.
This is coming in from Joe Chacon, who's like texting me during the show. And shout out to Joe Chacon, our pal, who always listens. Hey, the true Call of Famers are out tonight, and the MinerTalk legends, including Joe Chacon, who says, dang, you're reading a burner's hashtags and not mine. Hashtag where's the love? Hashtag Zane's in training. Hashtag where's Waltzer? I have no clue what that is. This is the one I like. Hashtag Sal, let's get a game in.
I love it, but Joe, I gotta say this, man. We gotta advance the league more than once every 2 weeks, brother.
If you know, you know.
We have to, man. And I'm sorry, like, man, we just finished the first season like maybe 3 weeks ago, guys. Basketball season had been over like a month and a half, or football season had been over a month. I didn't even know who was on the team anymore. So, I'm messing with you, man. But maybe tonight, we'll see.
Hashtag still needs to play Brodus. Hashtag page all the rage. Hashtag where's my follow, ma'am? That's hilarious. And then his other hashtags from his previous one was hashtag Sleepy Jim, hashtag reppin' from El Chuco now, hashtag Brock is my OG, hashtag Sal is my pal, hashtag Zay all the way. Another hashtag Sal let's play. Man, he really wants to play some video games.
Real quick, I've played him, on the CFB 26, and it's so funny because when I get to play him, like I don't play until everybody else is asleep, and we play until ungodly hours of the night. Like one time we ended at 3, but it's so funny because I have my headset on and I'm whispering the whole time because I don't want to wake up my 2-year-old son. And then my wife comes in, I can hear you. And it's like, so no matter what, like I'm banned from using a headset now.
There's no chance that I'm whispering on a headset, Sal. So you're doing God's work right there.
And we just have the TV in the living room. We only have one TV, so
there you go.
Distance ain't that far.
Okay, that makes sense. This is coming in from El Paso Visuals Deportivos. Enough about tonight's scuffle between UTEP and NMSU. When are we going to talk about AB's mullet? The lettuce, though, not a mullet. It's just kind of like a flow, but I appreciate you. And then Augustine says, is this right? Analysis meltdown. Yes, that is right. A couple other final points I want to hit on, and then we can kind of wrap up the show. We've been on MinerTalk forever, guys. So Zay got all the way out here, and now he's been here for over an hour. That's how long we've been on MinerTalk. So this is a couple other things I want to hit on. Mountain West is going to do a really innovative streaming deal here, and I actually saw the news about this one. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see this one. It was actually pretty interesting right here. Got a chance to read the news that Conference USA is I said Conference USA. Guys, I'm so locked in on Conference USA. Sadly, still, I am. I'm still with this league. All right. Mountain West, the real conference, right? The Mountain West is putting together this awesome streaming deal that players are going to actually be able to share their social media from this, I think this past game for UNLV basketball. And based on the viewerships that happen on the game itself, players will actually get to capitalize on streaming revenue income. So the Mountain West is what I'm trying to say is they're extremely innovative in trying to get their student athletes more compensation through things like NIL. And they're approaching things like streaming. So let's say Zay is one of the players on UNLV. He might tweet something he might post something on his Twitch account that says, hey, watch UNLV versus Colorado State by clicking this link for free. People click on the link, they watch the full game, they're watching all the commercials, and then as a result, Zay, who's on UNLV, gets a check at the end of it for all the people who ended up watching it based on his account. I was watching this today and I was seeing this, I was like, this is so innovative. In a world where Conference USA is going backwards, left and right, in all the things that they're doing, they're going after FCS teams, and I'm not talking about North Dakota State. No. I'm talking about teams who are making a financial investment to join or jump up to Conference USA from the FCS ranks, and like the Delawares of the world, the Missouri States of the world, those teams. Not like North Dakota State, who's winning FCS championships left and right. Mountain West is doing innovative stuff. Conference USA is stuck in limbo or stuck wherever. And as soon as Liberty leaves this conference, or as soon as La Tech goes over to the Sun Belt in 2027, and this conference only has 10 affiliates moving forward, I just don't see it lasting. And I like the fact that UTEP is going into a conference that is sustainable, that is trying to have more innovative moves on their side and more momentum on their side for just cool things. So I'm a big fan of the streaming rights. I'm a big fan of Mountain West, and I think, you know what, Sal? Forget the calf tat for the MinerTalk one. I think I might have to get the calf tat of the Mountain West because I'm all in on this conference.
You know what? I like it. It's very innovative, but I was cracking up back here because I'm thinking like they're literally just looking at the rules like, what could we not do 10 years ago? Okay, let's do that exact thing and sharing the revenue. So it's interesting how the ball is how the ball's being picked up after it started rolling a couple years ago. And I like it, but we're seeing ideas from the conference, and UTEP hasn't even stepped foot in the Mountain West yet. And you're seeing more creativity, in the span of maybe 2-3 weeks than maybe we saw in a decade, or maybe the entire tenure of Conference USA since UTEP got in Conference USA. So I like it, man. And this is just the beginning. Now it's going to be on UTEP to pick it up as well and see what they could do.
Zay, the women get a big win today, 69-58 against the Aggies. This one helps them as they try to make the Conference USA tournament in Huntsville, Alabama. All 5 of their starters score in double figures.
Yeah, big win. And going back to the Mountain West talk, missed opportunity to call it Mountain West Plus.
There you go. They could have called it ESPN Plus, Mountain West Plus. There you go, Zay.
Yeah, that would have been fun. But yeah, big win. Surprising win. I know that they took care of business here at the Haskins Center, and then today you go up the road and they were just dominant. After that first quarter, they looked good. They were the better team, and if you would have told me like last week that the UTEP women's team probably has a better chance to make the Conference USA tournament than the men's team, I probably would have laughed because they were on completely different trajectories. Even granted, they were both struggling programs, struggling teams, but it looked like UTEP men, they were like, almost a lock. And it's hard to say that when this conference has been so competitive. But I had no faith in the women's squad, so they proved me wrong today. Big win against the Aggie team, and they sweep them.
Yeah, it was impressive that they actually did that. They completed the sweep. They go on the road. They get it done today. So shout out Keith Adams and company for getting it done. Conference USA standings as it is right now, Sal. Delaware in dead last. They're 5-11 in this conference right now. Dead last. They're probably missing the tournament. That almost might be an E. We might be able to put the E next to them for eliminate very soon at least. But here's where it's a log jam. FIU 6-10. New Mexico State Aggies 6-10, UTEP Miners 6-10. How do we decide tiebreakers? I don't know.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
So the way the tiebreakers are decided is overall record. I think that would be the next step. So if it ended today, UTEP is looking out when it comes to the Conference USA tournament. It would be Delaware last place, who the Miners have the tiebreaker over. And it's all fine and dandy, but when we look at it, they're just one win better than Delaware overall and in conference. Then New Mexico State, who, and you mentioned FIU, that trio with 6-10, but although the Miners split with them, what's killing the Miners is FIU having a 13-14 record, which isn't even impressive, by the way, and the Aggies at 13-13, which is extremely disappointing by their standards. So they're 3 games behind them overall, and that's going to be the tiebreaker with those guys. UTEP, the only team, with 10 wins, in Conference USA. Everybody else, other than Delaware, at 13 or more. So that's a big hill to climb when there's 4 games left and you're 3 games back in the quote unquote tiebreaker, I guess. That's a big hill to climb.
The other part about it is there's only 2 games that separate UTEP, who's currently right now tied for second to last. I would say tied for whatever that last spot is, and Kennesaw State, who's 8-8. And La Tech, who's 8-8, and Jack State, who's 8-8. 2 games separate them. So Zay, things flip every single week in Conference USA. You just got to make sure you're trending upwards in the final stretch. I just don't like this final stretch for UTEP. Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Kennesaw State, Jack State. 1 out of those 4, like UTEP gets, 2 out of those 4 would be huge. That almost guarantees you in the tournament. But I don't know.
Yeah, and shout out Sal because it is the record for 3+ teams, but it's only the best team. So out of FIU, NMSU, and UTEP, who has the best overall record?
The best overall record as it stands right now is New Mexico State, 13-13.
Yeah.
So it would be them getting in, and then for that last spot, it would then go to a 2-team tiebreaker, which is decided, and this is from our guys at the Towel Rack, Western Kentucky.
Yeah, shout out that.
It's the record versus the top teams in the conference. So this is how it's explained.
Come on.
If they split their games, the record against the highest placed team in the standings is compared, continuing down the standings until the tie is broken. And if the tie persists, then the team with the superior net rankings or further tiebreakers may be used.
I hate this. Just give me the coin toss. Just give me the Texas high school coin toss.
Oh, you know what's tough too is like if that is the case, I'm looking at the top teams.
What's UTEP's best win, Sal? What? Like seriously, Middle Tennessee, Jack State?
Jack State, that's it. Not against La Tech. They haven't played in Kennesaw, so we'll see. I mean, that still remains to be answered. But Western Kentucky
against Sam Houston.
Had it against Sam Houston, which is a shame. They only played once this year, and Liberty was close. But looking at New Mexico State right here, they got a win over La Tech. Jack State, who UTEP also beat, they got a win over Western Kentucky. So all of those teams against them, ahead of them in the standings. And who's the other one? It was FIU. Let me look here. As far as their best wins, they beat Louisiana Louisiana Tech. They beat Missouri State. They beat Middle. Obviously, they beat New Mexico State as well in UTEP. They swept New Mexico State, rather. So that's also important to note, too. They have a tiebreaker over New Mexico State if they can end, with the same record, or obviously if they're one game better, then they'll get in. But yeah, those teams have better resumes against the quote-unquote top teams in the conference.
I hate this. I hate Conference USA. You know what's going to happen is, like, in the middle of that final game, the finale, if UTEP's like teetering on whether or not they're going to make it, and maybe they're not going to make it against Jacksonville State, Conference USA is just going to start deleting UTEP out of their contacts. Like, Judy McLeod will have no recollection. She'll never come out here, West Texas. She'll fly into Las Cruces. She'll fly into Albuquerque before she flies back into El Paso. She's done. She's out. Like, the breakup will happen right there. It's like a breakup over text, It's like you break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other over text.
Hey, Augustine, you know how you were like, give a 15-year extension. Consistency is key. I present to you Judy McLeod. There we go.
There you go. It's over, Zay. Maybe even very soon, sooner than UTEP fans would like. But you're reading kind of the writing on the wall. Things have to really break right for UTEP. I want to see the probability chart by Conference USA Roundtable after this one, because it's not going to look good.
Yeah, and the way to avoid this is to win, right? You control your own destiny as of now. You don't need any help. You just have to win games. And, you're playing a tough schedule, as is the UTEP women's. They're actually playing a way harder schedule than the men. So for both squads, it's in limbo right now, but at least one team got it done tonight and furthered their hopes.
Yeah, man, this is, that's exactly right. Winding it down, let's just final couple thoughts. Shout out to Aaron Jones, Showtime Worldwide. They stepped in to El Paso. They did the Capsule 2 drop. We were out there today. Shout out to Chase Golding, who was rocking the MinerTalk hat. I saw that on the broadcast. So shout out to Chase Golding, son of head coach Joe Golding, who is actually a baller at Coronado. So I love covering him in football, and great baseball player. He also has some good basketball to him too. He all-around athlete. So shout out Chase Golding. Also, we talked about the Liberty loss already, so I'll say that. We already talked about how I thought it was the best broadcast crew on ESPN Plus with Adam Young and Russ Bradford. I love those two guys. I thought they were excellent. And quiet finish for Caleb Blackwell. I mean, he had that big three-pointer late, which I talked about was very important, but other than that, in the second half, very quiet for him after those 11 points that he put up. And he finished the game in this one with 18 points, but 11 in the first 6 minutes of the game, and closes out the game with 7 points. So you need a little more from Caleb Blackwell, but aside from Blackwell, you need more from Kasim Watson, who had just 8, and Elijah Jones with only 5, all being in the second half. That's just not going to cut it for UTEP. So Miners, turn the page. It's Middle Tennessee. It's Western Kentucky. I have them losing both game, guys. What about you, Zay? Where do you have them next week?
I have the split. This team is, I know it's the cliche, but, they were in it. They've been in a lot of games, and I just feel like they're going to snag one on the road. I know that people are really on the fence about them. I'm not going to try and talk you into it. I can barely talk myself into it, but I do think they split this.
Yeah, I think Sal, let's go get your thoughts when it's all said and done.
It's going to be tough. It's one of the tougher road trips for anybody in the conference. So I don't know, man. I don't think so.
I'm going to go with 0. I'm going to go with 0 for 2. But, hey, with the chance to come back home and win both games and, get into the CUSA tournament. So, see what happens. But that'll do it for us here on MinerTalk, guys. Late night edition of MinerTalk, probably our longest show here for basketball all season. First off, I want to thank Sal Montes adjusting to the show today. We had a little technical difficulties early. We were battling through it. We were weathering the storm, Sal, as we say for UTEP basketball. We were weathering the storm, and we made it happen. Special thanks to Zay Galindo. He was on site, taking photos, making sure everything looked great out at the Pan Am Center, and then rushed over here after the game, after the post-game skirmish or the tempers flaring. And then special thanks again to Chris Collins from Inspo Lens. We're live on Inspo Lens, Twitter, X, the YouTube side of things. I'll post a YouTube link as well tomorrow, so anybody who missed out today can go back and watch the entire edition of MinerTalk. And special thanks to Jack in the Box, our presenting sponsor here on MinerTalk. Open 24/7, 365 because cravings don't have a curfew. Shout out to Thomas Adams Apparel. I'm rocking the Thomas Adams Apparel MinerTalk hat right now. We're going to drop these this week as far as more information on them for NIL and more how these will go back to support NIL and UTEP student NIL, which I love. And so we'll talk about that more this week here on Sports Talk and on MinerTalk. So really excited about that. But that'll do it for us here on MinerTalk. Special thanks to everybody here in the building. We'll be back in action Thursday. Miners going up against Middle Tennessee on Thursday. And then Saturday against Western Kentucky. We'll have all of it for you here on 600 ESPN El Paso. For Zay Galindo, for Chris Collins, for Sal Montes, I'm Adrian Broadus. We are signing off tonight and saying so long. Thanks for listening to MinerTalk, brought to you by Jack in the Box, right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.
Trading at Schwab is now powered by Ameritrade, bringing you an expanding library of education with even more ways to sharpen your trading skills. Access new online courses, insightful webcasts, articles, engaging videos, and more, all curated just for traders. Plus, guided learning paths with content designed to fit your unique interests. No sifting to find exactly what you need so you can spend your time learning to trade brilliantly. Learn more at schwab.com/trading.
Lowe's has all the supplies you need to get your home spring ready, inside and out. Shop Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Plus, renew for the season with select cleaning essentials for under $10. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Lowe's, we help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
We have everything you might want for the end of winter. Visit your nearby Lowe's on East Arc Avenue in Sunnyvale.